back to the Mildura Senior College, the second of our two T20 fixtures in this opening day of the Global Spirit of Cricket Festivale. And for our viewing pleasure this afternoon, it's the Sandgropers taking on the RJR All-Stars here at Mildura Senior College. Pat Silcox alongside of Peter Walsh, and we're ready to go again, Walshy.
We are. I think I saw Reg Varney out there in the parking lot because there are buses going left, right and centre, and I'm saying this with a bit of mirth, but to get players from point A to point B for matches which start fairly quickly and for a full day of cricket, remembering this morning we saw 251 runs scored for 13 wickets. It was magic stuff, and this is going to happen twice a day for the duration of, and I don't know, Pat, whether you've got a home to go to, but if that's the case, just forget about it. Go a BB, find a bed and breakfast, or find a spot here in this clubhouse, because we're about to start another game now and we'll be refreshing you as to all that's happening right throughout this day.
So Sandgropers have won the toss, elected to bowl first. We've got a boundary off the first delivery, so perfect start for the RJR All-Stars. In at the crease in this opening session of our second T20 fixture today. Our batsmen out there at the moment, Paul Baird and Scott McIntosh. And it was McIntosh who got the score moving beautifully off that first delivery. And it's Bakerberg who is our opener for the Sandgropers. Ball's coming out to the onside rope once again. And not a bad effort there to haul it in. Craig Kelly's just out in front of us here. Did nicely to pull that back from the boundary rope. It's a positive opening from the RJR All-Stars, Peter.
Not messing around. No, good fielding too on the boundary line. That was after you've gnawed on a salad roll and you might be feeling just a little bit, oh, well, yeah, the body's working through, but that was good stuff. Well done.
Once again, ball hit down towards the man there on the fine leg boundary, another single. Fielding done on the rope there by Stephen Golan, who we heard in the pre-match before this game, and once again doing a great job with the ball in the opening clash for the Sandgropers. Should have our NV Play overlays pop up on the screen for you shortly. Ball is uppishly hit. Won't clear the ring. They'll pick up a single.
As we roll through an afternoon, a first afternoon of some frenetic action right throughout the week, I'll give you the scores in the other matches that were played earlier on today, realising, of course, that we've got another 4 going this afternoon, so put your seatbelts on and get ready.
Ball worked again into the onside by the RJR All-Stars. McIntosh looking busy out in the middle.
Good start, isn't it? Bold start.
So just about through the completion of this, the first over. And there's our NV Play overlay coming into the equation for us. Thanks to Todd from B Live to get us into action.
It's hot dotty today, isn't it? That's good to hear. We need these people. It's all about a team.
Yep.
Is it correct?
Right on the money, Pete, as we get through the end of the opening over. None for 11, so great start from the RJR All-Stars. McIntosh 8 from 4, Baird 3 from 2, and Bakerberg has 11 off his opening over, so perfect start for the All-Stars.
Absolutely, and with sincerity, a special cheerio to Todd and the team for their assistance in getting things organised, making it so much easier, and for us to get to know more people too in the communications industry. They are such a vital component of what we're trying to do to promote cricket. Australia Pavilion 5 for 146, defeated the Sandgropers 6 for 132. Gab made 80. Team Thunder 6 for 173, defeated the Spot On Strikers 8 for 86. Niche got 106 majestic runs. Saxon Kings 5 for 131, EV2 Cricket 8 for 120. And in the game where we couldn't give you the scores, but we can now, RJ Stars 3 for 165 defeated Lightning Storm 5 for 162. There are 4 games on this afternoon. We'll continue to upgrade them and give you the information. And again, thanks to Todd and all the troops who are spread far and wide. Not all where we're sitting in our commentary box, but there are others that are out in the sunshine. And we'll have Craig Broomhall, who is one of our special guests. He's from the Sandgropers. We'll talk to him after we've worked through about the first 5 overs of this game, where at the moment it's like a wind farm when you look, and when they're placing their fieldsmen all over the shop, their arms are going in different directions, and got a slip in too, which we don't always see, Pat, in these sorts of games, but we have at the moment.
So it's Steve Goan, who was in action, of course, during the Tri-Series. Getting that one to turn from the off to the leg. Ball pushed out on the onside, no run.
You know, there's so many good people that we could introduce you to, but now Steve Goan, here's an example of sitting with my partner. We're just having a drink of water during the break, and he was off the bus coming with his group of players to play in this game, and he stopped. I just wanted to have a chat about what it was like, and he got a trophy, of course, for his performance in the Tri-Series. That was presented on the houseboat the other night. And he was just talking about cricket, and he said, how does this bloke Gab make all these runs? He seems to make these runs and not have a bead of perspiration on his brow, but he's a good guy, and everybody's on for a chat, and this is why it's called the spirit of cricket. None for 11 in the second.
Goan getting some good purchase from this Mildura Senior College surface, as McIntosh has just had to go back into his shell a little here. Once again, he's tucked up and pushed back into the crease. So 5 balls, 5 dots. So great start from Steve Goan here, bowling from the southern end at the Mildura Senior College. Once again, that one coming back in from outside the off stump. So end of the second over. No wicket for 11. McIntosh is 8. Baird is 3. And Golan's bowled 1 over, 1 maiden. None for none.
We wouldn't have had, and I don't know if we've got any maidens in this morning's game, did we?
We might have got 1 if we were lucky.
I think we might have had 5 flashes outside the off stump, and
That's
then 1
right.
went down the leg side.
Might have been a commentator's curse attached to that, Pete.
Yeah, but actually what we see is we see the representation of colours. It's good to see the Sandgropers a bit, they're orange, and their opposition for this game, the RJ All-Stars, in the New South Wales colours, really, aren't they? The blue.
It's almost a New South Wales versus Perth Scorchers sort of vibe about it in this second game, as advancing once again down the ground. The ball is deposited out towards that backward cover boundary, and doing his magic out there to trap it with the foot is Nick Cullinane there for the Sandgropers. Doing a nice job.
One way to break an ankle is to stand on the ball.
That's very West Indian in his approach, the way he went about that. The tall fast bowlers from back in the 80s and 90s weren't big fans of bending down to pick them up, were they, Walshy? They just wanted to get a big size 15 down there just to trap it.
I was going to say size 18, but no, you're closer.
Advancing is Baird. Doesn't make connection, goes through to the keeper. Looks like Anthony Barranca is looking after the gloves for the Sandgropers, with Simon Milton having a rest in this game after his 3 stumpings in the opening fixture this morning.
That was good. Now, I've got a few bits and pieces that I can try and dig out for you, because I've got a surprise for you coming up, which you'd be thrilled about, no doubt.
Oh, a bit of hesitation as McIntosh was backing up a long way at the non-striker's end. Sent back by his partner. Good work in the field there. It might have been Todzani there who was hustling in on the ring.
I was getting all excited about reading out a profile from one of our Sandgropers, but I don't think I've got it, which is sad.
Ball is sky down to the man at deep fine leg, who unfortunately has been unable to hold it and goes to ground. They'll get back for 2. We did see a couple go down in that first game, didn't we, Pete?
We did.
Skied balls proving to be a little bit hard to handle.
I found a little bit to talk about, because we've got good names that crop up from time to time, and Colin Bakerberg, I wonder what his nickname is.
Have you got it there, Pete?
No, but
No.
I've got a bit about it. I've got a little bit. I'll talk to you about it after this delivery.
Forcing Baird back into his crease as he tries to run the ball down towards third man. So almost at the completion of 3. Score is none for 15. The run rate is at 5.29. Short and outside the off stump. And another single to the tally. None for 16 after 3. Baird is 8. McIntosh is 8. Bakerberg is through his 2 overs now. None for 16.
He played Division 2 for Western Australia in 2023 at the Nationals, was a right-handed lower order batsman and a medium-paced bowler, and is looking for a decent nickname. Colin Bakerberg. Now, it's spelled Bakerberg. Don't know. But still, bowling for his state in this sort of competition, opening the bowling, how good's that?
It's fantastic, isn't it? As Goan now will take up the attack once again. As Baird will just take his guard. You have to have a look at the Australian off-spinner who was in great touch during the Tri-Series over the past week. The ball swung out there towards the backward square boundary, timed beautifully by Baird and goes for 4. So the score none for 20 now. The start of this, the fourth over.
Good start, isn't it?
We've seen a few of those earlier scores, Walshy. The games certainly saw a lot more runs than what we had here, with the scores up around 160 and 150 at some of the other venues.
Highest score so far, Thunder 6 for 173, but Niche got 106 and had a good time.
Big swing again from outside the off stump there by Baird, unable to make contact. Quicker and into the wicket this time. Ball's nudged down towards short third man. Another single for the All-Stars. None for 21. Baird has got himself moving nicely now. 13 from 11.
Good to get away to a start where you move it along and sets up the middle order. If you lost a wicket after a while, fair enough. There's not much you can do about that. There's nothing. But these two almost both in double figures, and the score at none for 22 in the fourth. So it's pretty good. Pretty good start. Both looking good.
Baird is advancing and he's heading out onto the onside, and he'll beat the man who was motoring around there from his position at a deep mid-wicket. Nick Cullinane couldn't pull it in, so Baird really taking a liking to the bowling of Steve Gollan. He's now 17 from 12. Score is none for 26. We're almost through 4. That run rate is almost upwards of it is upwards of 6.5, approaching 7 per over, Peter.
And the Sandgropers as well. They played Australian Pavilion earlier today and they got knocked around for 5 for 146. Zani got 49 and Gab 80. So those in the orange, the Jaffas you could call them, I suppose, they've been doing some run chasing on today, the first day of this competition.
Ball comes in from the deep, and that will complete 4 overs. Score is none for 28. Baird 19 off 13. McIntosh 9 from 11, and Gollan has bowled 2 overs, and his figures are none for 12.
And don't forget to, at the end of this over, we'll be joined by Craig Broomhall, who is from the Sandgropers, and have a chat. As we did mention in the introduction, yesterday when all the franchise got together and talked about what they were doing and how they got their teams together, well, we aim to be able to put information across what we're doing in the media, and that's by way of television and radio. So the looking at and the listening to, and the sponsorship is so vital for these franchise, etc. So we're more than happy to give them some plugs, and we start by talking to Craig very shortly at the end of this over, actually.
Bakerberg has gone past the outside edge of the McIntosh bat as he looked to try and take him down the ground towards the school here at Mildura Senior College.
You've just called him Bakerburger, so that could be a nickname.
There you go. Unintentionally, but it managed to squeeze out at the back end there.
No, but it was said with sincerity. It wasn't as if you were taking the you-know-what out of him. We're just helping out for a nickname, that's all.
Gets down low in his stance, doesn't he? Mm-hmm. This time he's lofting and elevating the ball over on the onside. That'll go away for another boundary near the football goals there. So McIntosh, in fact, he might have even cleared the rope on the full, if that scores anything to go by. 15 from 13 now. Baird 19 from 13. Score is none for 34 in the fifth over.
And we've seen those orange signs at both ends of the ground. Of course, if you hit them on the full, you get some money in your hip pocket.
My word. It's better than a bit of loose change. So
it is.
Upwards around $25,000 if you can hit the hit me for six signs.
Yes,
which is strategically located around 70 metres away from the middle.
Well, there's a hit down the ground on the offside. That is a thumping blow. Lands, and because it was elevated so high, it hasn't got the necessary roll over the ropes, but the bounce back comes and they pick up a couple. But didn't he hit that hard and high?
Almost premeditated that as he just got a stride down the wicket and hit straight down the ground. As we can see the wicketkeeper, Anthony Brancanetis, having a chat to his bowler. Baker may need just to back his length off a bit, hit the ball into the pitch to alleviate McIntosh getting set and hitting from the front foot.
8 runs from this over already. This is healthy. The overs remaining 15.5 and the run rate is already up to 8. That's a very good start considering 20 overs per team. 8 by 20 is 160. Even my maths can work that one out if they're able to stay at that rate. Now there's the repeat dose, and that goes straight back down the ground over the top. Has it gone? It's gone for 6.
Gone all the way. We've got the ropes in at 55 metres, so looks to be to Scotty McIntosh's liking as he takes another one for a maximum in this over. 14 from it so far from Bakerberg.
We'll have to get our scorer next door to get what would be the highest off per over.
Catch taken there, I reckon, Walshy, just around the corner at the 45 towards fine leg. And I reckon it was Stephen Golan who managed to get his hands around that one. A much needed breakthrough for the Sandgropers as McIntosh is on his way for 23 from 16. And the score is 1 for 42.
Definitely a must breakthrough, but caught Golan bowl Bakerberg. They had to work hard for that dismissal, did they not?
So they coughed up a few boundaries, didn't they, in transit to getting there, but Golan very sharp there as he was walking in with the bowler. Took it in the one motion. And a quick little refreshment for the Sandgropers there as they just readdress the situation. They'd love to take another quick wicket here right at the end of the first power play just to get 2 fresh men out at the crease.
And after this ball for the end of the 5th over, we'll be joined by Craig Broomhall, who jumps in and has his say about the side that he loves and the side he's supporting and what they're doing for support and how important it is for cricket around Australia to have such a Veterans Championship up and running over the 50s. With the score at the moment at 1 for 42 with the man out McIntosh. The only wicket to fall, but up and running.
Ball is not taken by Craig Callies as he was running in from the mid-wicket fence. Unfortunately for the Sandgropers, they could have got the double breakthrough, but not to be. So we've now completed 5 overs. The score is 1 for 43. I'll jump out momentarily and I'll leave you with Walshy.
Thank you, Pat. Pat, not too far away because we interchange, and that's what's happening for us to be able to bring in some of our special guests right around the country to join us on our coverage here. This particular venue is where we were this morning, Mildura Senior College, and Craig Broomhall has joined yours truly, Peter Walsh, for a bit of a chat. Craig, welcome aboard.
Thank you, Peter.
Nice to have you.
Yeah, nice to be here.
And you're wearing with pride. Tell us about the colours and tell us about what you've got splashed all over your very impressive top.
Well, we're wearing the orange, similar to the Scorchers, I guess. And yeah, there's a number of sponsors for the Sandgropers, and one in particular, Blooming Minds, as a major sponsor.
Yes.
Is the company that my wife and I own and run.
Okay, so how did you become involved in such a company?
My wife founded it about 20 years ago.
Right.
She identified through initial training that there was a need for, workplace mental health focus.
So how did she identify that?
Well, she worked in the industry.
Yes. As what, a nurse?
Started out as like an EAP provider.
Okay,
so,
okay.
And did a little bit of like mental health first aid and that initial training.
Was it hands-on treatment?
It's more research based, so a lot of experience, and then and also studying psychology at Notre Dame.
Right. On that note, so you're talking 20 years ago. Times have changed in that period of time.
Yeah, significantly.
So what's been the biggest change for you with yourself and your wife being so heavily involved?
I think the stigma about mental illnesses and mental health conditions, has sort of subsided a bit. There's a lot more talk these days than there was.
But you can't force people to talk. If they want to close up and they don't want to talk about it, what do you do?
Well, I'm not a psychologist,
No.
but you listen and you provide support, and you can point them in the right direction for, depending on what the condition is,
Right.
or what the circumstances
Okay.
is. Yeah.
There's a lot of directions that someone could take, so you need to be aware as to what the best direction is.
Yeah, and my wife, she's done 20 years of research, and she's doing a PhD at the moment on workplace psychosocial safety, she's come up with a lot of different strategies, and Blooming Minds has a lot of e-learning courses. So she provides in person, but also live online and e-learning courses, so people can do it at their own pace.
From their own home?
Yes. Yeah.
So there would be some who might find it's not, an embarrassment's not the right word, but to be able to go and speak in front of people, that might not be what they want. But now with the age of being able to make contact and don't leave your lounge room if you need to, that would be a help?
Yes, yeah. And the good thing about what Tasha does is she can customise it to the specific organisation, because a lot of there's a lot of differences within companies and their structure, and but ultimately by law there are obligations that companies have to adhere to. So she makes them aware of that, and but the bottom line is the goal is to sort of increase the culture and make it thrive, so your people are happy and working. And
How did you get involved then with the cricket connection?
Well, I played with Todd Zani, who's one of the owners of the Sandgropers.
Yes.
And so I played with him in Melbourne in the over 50s WA.
What sort of cricket were you?
I'm a bit of an all-rounder. Right. Yeah, so bat and bowl, and I'm a pretty good fielder. I can run around.
Do you still play?
Throw from the boundary. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the business of playing cricket is one thing. Take us to the next step about where do you see your business helping out?
Yeah, good question. So, I approached my wife because Todd and the other owners were talking about buying one of the franchises for Telf's T20 Global tournament. And and we thought it was a good idea to promote Blooming Minds outside of WA. My wife has worked with companies internationally.
To pause for you now, because there's a wicket. It's 2 for 49 in the 7th. 2 for 49 in the 7th. The bowler, Nichols, has picked up a wicket. Baird and Hancock were the two at the crease, but it's now 2 for 49. Earlier today, McIntosh was out. So a very big breakthrough has taken place. 2 for 49. That's the RJR All-Stars score in their game against the Sandgropers in the 7th over. And I've got with me Craig Broomhall, who's joining us in our commentary box as we continue what's happening here.
Yeah.
Now, all right, you know what you want to do. You're not specifically confined to Western Australia. Do you have niches all over the spots in Australia where you have the same aim in mind to look after people who are in the need?
I think the goal. Well, most of the business is through word of mouth. So people that have been to Tasha's and Blooming Minds' courses, spread the word about the great the benefits that they've got out of Tasha's courses.
Okay, well, tell me, and we are, of course, aware of time constraints, but tell me, what are some of the benefits that you could get if you wanted to indulge in finding out what Blooming Minds was about?
Well, Blooming Minds has a website.
Which is?
bloomingminds.com.au.
Right, that's a pretty straightforward one to work on. Yep, okay.
Yes. And there's actually, there's a lot of content in there, and it lays out what Blooming Minds does and what they can do for your organisation. Yeah, and particularly leaders and managers and those that manage people. A lot of the courses are designed for them.
Okay. Are you getting any response at all that you're wearing the colours and you're wearing them proudly, but in this involvement in cricket, how do you make a judgment as to whether or not this is a worthwhile thing for you to do and you want to continue to do it?
You mean
The company and the sponsorship, yep.
Yeah, the sponsorship. So we've committed for 3 years.
All right, good.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
After those conversations with Todd Zani and the other owners, and the experiences in Melbourne, that the camaraderie and the mateship of the over 50s, guys of similar age. I've had probably 3 or 4 or 5 conversations with guys in the team that have either through their workplaces experienced mental health issues with their staff, or just conversation in starting a conversation in general. Yeah, it's been fantastic.
That's one of the key issues you've touched on, Craig, and that is an ability, where necessary, to want to talk about it. You can't force people to talk about it, but if they want to talk about it and they feel comfortable in the company that they're keeping, if you can get all that sort of thing, that's halfway home.
Yes, yeah. And my wife Tasha, she has a great ability to, invite conversation.
She's a good communicator?
Oh, yes. She's a professional speaker, and she's been doing it for a while, and she's been on ABC Radio. She had a regular gig on there for a while. Right. Yeah.
Are you going to stay for the whole tournament here?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Do you have much to do with the players at the end of each day?
Myself?
Yeah.
Well, the first game I scored both innings.
Oh, good on you.
In the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, with the pen that I've got here, a red, blue, green and black.
Yes. I'm very neat, and I'm very, make the scoreboard look like it's supposed to.
And is it right to say that you are the head of the franchise that owns the Sandgropers?
We're the major
major company,
major sponsor. Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, look, I'll just mention that bloomingminds.com.au. Craig Broomhall has told the story succinctly, aware of the fact that, of course, we've got a cricket match to continue to call, but we did say at the start that we wanted to have people like yourself come in. And your first cab off the rank. So thank you so much, and please pass on our best wishes to your wife
and very much.
Continuation of what is it's out there. And if people talk about it, well, you're on the right track. Thanks, Craig, for coming in.
Thank you.
Good on you, Craig.
Thanks.
That's Craig Broomhall joining us on our coverage of the cricket here in Mildura. Good to have Craig on board and speaking with a lot of passion about what's happening in his world. 2 for 54, Baird is 22, Vandermeer is the new batsman, he's on 4. Nichols has the wicket of recent, he has 1 for 7. as Pat Silcox jumps back into the commentary box, and very softly spoken but passing off a very strong message. That's Craig Broomhall. Thrilled to have Craig from Sandgropers, and anyone else listening out who represents a franchise of another company, etc. We'd love to speak to you or any of the players. That's our goal, as we're here to promote not just the cricket but what mental health is all about. Welcome back, Pat.
Thanks, Walshy. Baird continues here at the top of the list for the Sandgropers, 22 from 22. Goan puts it outside the off stump. The ball's hit uppishly to the man on the ring there. And catch has been taken out there by Todd Zani, I reckon it is, our man. So all of a sudden the Sandgropers just starting to get back into this contest, aren't they? Taking some regular wickets. And the score now 3 for 54 as we watch the replay. Goan just pushing it wide with a bit of drift outside the off stump. Ball was not timed to perfection, and Zani, he was a good 5 metres inside the ring when he took the catch. And all of a sudden we'll have two fresh men out at the wicket, Lavender and Van der Merwe. And while you're having a chat there before, while she was enjoying the left arm over the wicket of Robert Nichols, he had some good zip. He was getting the ball through to the keeper who was standing quite a way back.
Well, Craig did well because he's in the box for about 3 or 4 overs, and 2 wickets have fallen now after he left the box there, and that's a good fight back. Remembering that earlier today the Sandgropers 6 for 132 were beaten by Australian Pavilion 5 for 146. Gab made 80 and Zani made 49 for the Sandgropers. So a good start for their second match. I think the realisation is you've just got to continue to play well, hope for no injuries, and chalk up some of those early wins, and we'll be keeping you up to date with ladder positions after each day's play. And it's good to see too those wickets continuing to fall and a few muscles being twitched as we speak, because it's just full throttle for the duration, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Belies the T20 format, of course, as Goan getting into his work now from the southern end. Looks like he's going to bowl his 4 straight through at the top here. He has 1 for 16, 1 ball remaining. Continue on his great form here in Mildura over the past week or so. That one is fizzing past the outside edge of Lavender's bat. The end of 8 overs. Score is 3 for 54. Van der Merwe is 4. Lavender yet to score. And Goan 4 overs, 1 for 16. Very tidy indeed.
Very much so. The other matches that are on this afternoon, RJ, are All-Stars against the Sandgropers, the one we're broadcasting. Saxon Kings against Team Thunder. The Saxon Kings 5 for 131. Defeated EV2 Cricket 8 for 120, and EV2 Cricket play the Australian Pavilion. That'll be a good game. That'll be a very good game. And Spot On Strikers, who had the wobbles, they unfortunately didn't get amongst it. They got 8 for 86 against Lightning Storm, who, what did they do? They got 5 for 162. So Spot On Strikers 8 for 86. Team Thunder 6 for 173. And Lightning Storm, they made 5 for 162 with RJ Stars 3 for 165.
Got some scores from around the ground shortly as we just await the left armer Robbie Nichols to re-enter the fray from the school end. Van der Merwe is on strike. Forcing the ball out onto the offside. It's backward a point. We'll pick up a single to Callies, who's the sweeper out in the boundary there. So it's senior college number 2 behind us. Saxon Kings are 3 for 27 in the 8th over. Winning the toss and batting first against Team Thunder. And out at Chaffey Park in Merbein. EV2 Cricket won the toss, batted first in that game. 1 for 64 in the 9th. And the Lightning Storm are 2 for 50 at the start of the 7th over after batting first upon winning the toss. So some good scores around the traps at the moment, Walshy.
Yeah, good to have them too. No doubt about it, to be able to keep flicking those scores through and giving an indication as to what's likely to happen. The first day today with 2 overs or 2 games to be played at the various venues each day, and they build themselves up till the big final. Get over the weekend if we can. The weekend, of course, tomorrow with so much major sport on. AFL Grand Final. We're doing the cricket, but of course we'll keep you posted as to the situation regarding the game at the MCG. where the big news story yesterday was the AFL was examining the problems that they think they might have had with scalping tickets that were taking place. Good grief. Yes, I don't know about that one. No. Anyway, Fitzroy are playing against the Brisbane Lions. I shouldn't say Fitzroy, I should say the Brisbane Lions are Fitzroy, and they're playing against the Sydney Swans. And just looking at a bit of some scratching out and looking at some newspapers or some old ones last night and thinking back onto the days of Jeffrey Edelston when he was involved, and Mrs. Edelston, I'm not sure what her name was. Leanne, was it, I think?
Correct.
Yeah. But you would have been someone like me. You would have sort of thought about Warwick Kappa when you were talking about the Sydney Swans, weren't you?
Yep. They had some great players through the years up there. Gerard Healy and Greg Williams and Bernard Toohey.
Did they what?
I think I mentioned it to you earlier in the coverage, Peter, that I think they've become a lot of people's favourite second team, hence of the sheer volume of weighted games they played on a Sunday afternoon.
Very true. Very true indeed. I used to love going to the Lake Oval, and that was the game. That was the home ground of South Melbourne. And I remember seeing a game with Essendon playing against Sydney, and I think it might have been Ronnie Andrews having a fight with Stuart Gull. Stuart Gull, of course, his father played for Dalesford in the Ballarat League, and he played a few games with South Melbourne. And these two pugilists just stood there and thumped each other for about 30 seconds. That was about all that was needed, because they didn't mess around in those days. You saw a bit of a biff and a whack. You don't see that now, thank goodness. But all of the combatants will be out there at the MCG tomorrow. It's a good square drive off the foot, out towards the boundary. Gee, that was hit well off the front foot, and it went all the way to the fence for 4. Vandermeer is on 9, and Lavender is on 1, and it's 3 for 61 at the end of 9.
Nichols has bowled his 2 overs, 1 for 14. It was looking pretty good, just the 3 runs off that over until the last blemish there. 7th ball, he just over-pitched, and Vandermeer finding the gap on the offside to clear the rope. So 3 for 61. Run rate is 6.78. We have 11 overs remaining. We'll get a drinks break in here, I reckon, the closure of this one, the 10th over. And the All-Stars are just in a little bit of a rebuilding phase after steady flow of wickets there over the past couple of overs. They did win the toss, the Gropers, electing to bowl first, so I think after the All-Stars got away a little off the chain early, they'd be happy with the way the game is playing out at the moment.
Interesting too, there's a Vandermeer playing. I know that there would have been a lot of Vandermeers who play cricket, but I remember one who used to play with South Africa. Now that's going back a long time. I think it was Peter Vandermeer from memory. And one of our guests talking about going to South Africa but not being able to play because of COVID. We don't really realise it until you sit down and you flick back and you have a look at what did happen in those years. Pat, did it affect you with sport at all?
Yeah, I know we had at least one football season that was more or less called halfway through.
Right? Yeah,
and then I reckon a second season that didn't get underway whatsoever. So it was a real change of focus, I think, for a lot of people locally during the winter months. Cricket seemed to get through unscathed reasonably well, albeit that a lot of different conditions were in play as far as playing and spectating were concerned.
You couldn't go too many places without taking a mask, could you? Oh, very true. Anyway, that seems to be under control. We don't hear a lot about it now. I don't know whether that means that there's not a lot about or not. I don't know, but you still see some people that have, I suppose, got into the habit of the masks, and they go into supermarkets and they're wearing those. But let's hope that those that aren't feeling all that well look after yourselves, and our coverage might bring a bit of a smile to your face. Let's hope so.
Lavender swinging the ball down towards the man at long on. Ben Warren's into the attack at the moment from that southern end. 3 for 64. Midway through the 10th over. Vandermeer is 9. Lavender is 4. So we see a bit of a field change here with the man who's sweeping out on the offside. Now moving around a bit squarer for the left-handed batsman.
I think the Sandgropers win my tick for the best uniform. What do you reckon? Not just colours, but I think they look good.
Very striking. You can see the boys coming from a long way away, that's for sure.
Okay, yep.
I think I'll put my hat into the ring of the EV2 cricket team with that strikers resemblance, being a bit of an old Adelaide boy myself. Like that throwback to the strikers.
Yeah, but in Adelaide, if your side's not doing well, you put your gear away. That's what you do. Be on the safe side. McIntosh early on out the score at 41. It was a blow too because he looked to be good and he looked to be playing with full of confidence.
Yeah, he got to 23 quickly, didn't he? But unfortunately couldn't quite go on with it as this ball from Warren's allowed to pass through outside the off stump by Van der Merwe. McIntosh was out for 23, called Golan bowled Backerberg. Baird called Zani bowled Golan 22 and Hancock bowled Nichols for 3. The only wickets to fall so far in this first session of the second at T20 fixture. So that's the end of 10 overs. Score is 3 for 64. Van der Merwe is 9. Lavender is 4. Just trying to cast an eye out there, Pete, to see if we are going to take a drinks break. I think maybe the players have feel that they'll look to push through. We've had a regular flow of wickets that have brought out refreshments from time to time.
That's a good shot too on our screen, if you can see the two chatting with what's happening in the world, and you can see behind them that orange sign with "Hit Me." It's like the cricket ball calling out "Hit me," and if the splash out into the on or offside hits on the full, there's a few bit of cash there. So keep your eyes and ears open for that one. 3 for 64. At the halfway point, let's multiply by 2 and get to 128, but it doesn't always work that way. Let's have a look at what happened this morning for the RJ. Well, let's have a look. The Stars got 3 for 165. That wasn't a bad score, was it?
Not bad at all, as Nichols is over pitching and he's taken downtown by Lavender for a boundary. Extra little bit of pace on there and well executed by Lavender. The ball is, I think, going to prove to be a bit of a tricky find here, as hopefully one of those school gates is open because it's just snuck through the rails of that fence. You can just see it there in behind, I reckon. The main gates. I'm not sure if someone's going to have to do the deed and climb up and over the top.
And we have to be aware here, and I'm being deadly serious, because it's all about time. Now we see one of the umpires just having a look at what is specifically going on. He's writing down the time of when the ball disappeared, which has to happen. Is that Chiller out there? I think it is.
Yep.
And they have to have a look and see how much time is lost. And they make a decision as to whether or not anyone was at fault. No one was, because the ball ran through where there was a hole in the fence. And there's a hole there that's supposed to be there. It's sort of like, this is my attempt at passing on details. It's like a picket fence that's not a picket. Does that make sense?
Yeah, to be almost 6 foot high, that gate and fencing around that school corridor there. As we can see, I reckon one of the RJR boys is going to take his bat along or a stump and maybe trying to reach underneath. There's people racing from everywhere.
Yeah, that's Telf's daughter. That's Lara running over there. And this is the first time that I've ever seen people running back into a school. I've seen them running away from school on ample occasions, but these people are actually running back into school. It's been found.
Yes. Paul Baird doing the job, I think, down there with his... I don't know if it was a stump or it was a piece of wood he collected along the journey there. He's not bringing it back with him to the dugouts here, but
no.
We got a result, so
we're
back to live action shortly as Nichols will look to just make sure he doesn't overpitch in that same zone again.
Yep. Now, Lara Telfer, who ran and got nowhere and gave up the chase and turned around and ran back, she receives 3 out of 10 for that effort. Would that be fair?
Yes.
She did well. She does a mighty job, does
My
Lara.
Goodness, that one took off from a reasonable length. And the keeper there, Anthony Baranka, luckily had the helmet on because that's hit him right in the grill, I reckon. My goodness, that really did fly. Good answer back there from Robert Nichols, unhappy about being driven down the ground. This one is hit out into the cover region. Fieldsman just fumbles there initially, so they'll get back for a couple.
And I'll stop being flippant for a minute, because when that ball trickled through the gap in the fence, the umpires took time to note time of day and how much time was. A lot of times I'm saying in this sentence, I'll get through it, how much time was lost, because it's all about finishing the game in 80 overs. So 80 minutes, I should say. So we'll have to wait and see on that one.
We just caught a replay there of that one that took Baranka in the helmet. It was a brute. It really stood up off a good length as Tom Lavender is able to get over the top of it and knock it down towards third man. They'll pick up a single. As we continue to enjoy great conditions on this AFL Public Holiday Friday locally here in northwest Victoria. Tops around 22 degrees. We'll warm up to 25 tomorrow for day 2 of the T20s.
Other matches today, we'll update shortly. RJR All-Stars against the Sandgropers at the game that we're broadcasting now. And the other matches, Saxon Kings against Team Thunder. Good start there in that game too. Saxon Kings, who are 3 for 27. EV2 Cricket against Australian Pavilion, and Spot On Strikers up against Lightning Storm. So we'll give you all of those because we need to inform.
Van der Merwe pushes out to the offside, picks up another single. So that's the end of 11 overs, 3 for 71. Van der Merwe is 10, Lavender is 11. And Nichols has bowled 3 overs and taken 1 for 22 as we check those scores. At the back here at Mildura Senior College, number 2 after 10 overs. Saxon Kings 4 for 43.
Oh dear.
So we're not going that great after winning the toss and batting first in their second game today. Out at Chafee Park in Merbeen, EV2 Cricket 1 for 99 in the 13th over. So they're off to a really good start there in their game against Australian Pavilion. Mark Kratzman playing in this particular game. He was out for 25. Ash Sipple is 61 not out from 39 deliveries. So they've set themselves up a nice platform there, EV2 Cricket. And our other game in action is the Lightning Storm 2 for 82 in the 10th over, taking on the Spot On Strikers. So Lightning Storm also cashing in the early overs. 21 not out for Kawaja, 25 for David Roach up the top. So they'll look to go on to a score of somewhere around run 50 there, you'd reckon, Walshy?
Yeah, that'd be a very good score. There's an attempted sweep down the leg side, but it was a wide delivery and called accordingly. The best hope for us as broadcasters, of course, Pat, is we want each team to get a win early so that all of the games have something to go on. And I think one of the perfect examples is the Saxon Kings, who lost earlier on today, and they have got the speed wobbles again. They're 4 for 43 against Team Thunder, so they've got a bit of a shaky start. EV2 Cricket 1 for 99 after they lost earlier today. And Lightning Storm 2 for 82 off 10. That's not bad against Spot On Strikers, who just couldn't find it this morning. They, in effect, were, let's have a look, Spot On Strikers 8 for 86, didn't do all that well with the bat.
So we see a leading edge, this time from Van der Merwe as he tries to swing Warren away over the pavilion here on this onside of the ground. Manages to pick up a single. A fair amount of risk attached to that stroke. As our Wasp is showing a final outlay for the All-Stars of 153 based on current going. 6.71 the run rate. Score is 3 for 76 in the 12th over. 8.4 overs remaining, so still have wickets in hand at the moment. The RJR All-Stars. Warren around the wicket and Lavender taking the ball down towards the man at mid-off who can't field cleanly, so they'll get through for an extra run.
Darren Cox from RJR. He's happy to come on at the end of the over or whenever. I'll just leave him here.
We've got another guest coming up shortly too, I think, Pat.
Yeah, Darren Cox, I believe it is, from the RJR All-Stars, is going to have a chat. That's if I have my listening ears on correctly. I'll confirm that just before we pass over at the end of this over. Van der Merwe is advancing.
That's a good
and
shot.
hitting the ball backward of a square for 4 on the onside. So takes his tally along to 17 from 13, 11 to 12 from 14. Score 3 for 81 in this 12th over.
Now, I did want to ask a question of the RJR man, and I'll be able to because Priyantha Mordalig is not playing. But I want to know why, because we wanted to call him, didn't we?
We did. We might get another chance in the coming days, Walshy. I know you're lucky in a big city.
Yeah, there's some good names in all of the teams, of course, and some excellent uniforms.
This ball's forced through the offside field there by Van der Merwe. Picks up another single.
I thought he didn't single the no ball then, did he?
Yep, I reckon the umpire's standing there with his arm outstretched, so that should give us a free hit situation here. There's
exactly.
the signal.
Good work.
So now they'll need to maintain their field set as it were. You can see that Warren was just counting heads there to make sure they were in their right positions. So what will his option be here? Will it be a foolish, whitish ball outside the off stump? Will he try and bowl it into the pitch?
Not sure. But put it this way, first time we've seen a free. Did we see a free hit? That's it, isn't it?
This is the first one we've seen so far today, I reckon. This is launched by Lavender down the ground, and he will clear the rope. So it makes full advantage of the free hit and takes his score along to 18 from 15, and it's now 3 for 89 in the 12th over, which has come to an end. I'll step out, Walsh, and I'll let you have another chat.
Thank you. And when you come back to Pat, I need you to tell me whether or not Jason and Gary are brothers. But we'll be able to ask the questions to the man from RJR who's coming in to join us, Darren Cox, I think. Is Darren coming? Darren Cox is going to sit down. Peter Walsh here. Darren, how you going? Good to see you. Grab a seat. Pleasure to have you on board with your team, 3 for 89. And a magnificent day for football. I was going to say football. That's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
How are you enjoying yourself?
Mate, loving it. Absolutely loving it. It's to be up here or down here in Mildura from the good old Gold Coast.
Yep.
And Vets cricket is amazing. You know, it's the value, the people, the friendships, and that's what it's all about. You know, we've all played at a pretty decent standard of cricket when we were younger, but to be able to do this. Credit to Telf and what he's put on here. It's amazing.
Tell us about your background in cricket.
Yeah, I'm born and bred Sydney boy, New South Welshman. Played a lot of my junior cricket at Parramatta. Right. Went from Parramatta and played first grade out at West and Penrith, and went back to Para and played first grade. And then only moved up to Queensland about 4 years ago.
Good move?
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
What part of Queensland?
I'm on the Gold Coast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, and we play cricket all year round.
Yes.
So we're very fortunate in winter that we get quality wickets. We play against quality players, obviously Andrew, Mark Kratzman and, Milts, and we all play against each other and Clint Kebley and it's just awesome. We play all year round. So, and that's why you probably see a lot of the Queenslanders that are fit and pretty good through,
of course,
last week and this week. So,
well, tell us then about. There had to have been a time when veterans cricket was, look, someone's going to knock on my door or make a phone call, or I'm fit enough to do what I need to do. How did you then give that serious consideration?
Look, I think what it was, was that moving up to a different state with no friends or family, it's really hard.
But you would have known that before you moved.
100%. Yeah. I was fortunate enough to bring my mum and dad up with me, and we've got a house where they live with me. And unfortunately, Mum passed away only a few months back, but I was able to bring Dad down to here and do a bit of a road trip with Dad. And I think memories will be lasting. So, but to go to Queensland and to get into vets cricket, it was only by chance. I didn't know there was even cricket through winter.
How did you get in there?
I played a couple of games in over 40s for Helensvale. I knew Jake Groves, who I captained down at Western Suburbs, and he was up and he said, come down and play a couple of games, so I did. And
Were you playing cricket elsewhere at that time?
No. I'd given it away for probably a good 10 years, I suppose. And then, got back into playing vets cricket, and then they said, we play winter. I said, what are you talking about, playing winter cricket? There's no chance. No, we play winter, and it's a good stand. I said, okay, I'll be in. So they gave me an opportunity to play 50s for the Gold Coast Thunder. This year, we were undefeated all winter, and unfortunately slipped over in the final. And as captain of that side, I was a little bit disappointed and a bit upset because we worked really hard. But going back to it, it's not about awards. It's not about anything else but friendships and
relationships,
and male mental health. And I know I can rely on not just my teammates, but many teammates I can reach out to and say, look, hey, I'm having a crappy day.
Sometimes, though, there is a reluctance to talk about it. You'd rather not say anything because you're thinking, people might think, look, not another bloke who can't cope or anything as such. Is it that first step where you pick up the phone or you go along to a meeting or you sit and have a quiet one at the races or whatever, where you break that barrier and you think at least now other people know that I might need help? When I do need help, come and say hello.
100%. It's about breaking those walls down. Us men, we seem to be quite strong and stubborn when it comes to those sort of things. But, I know what I've been through in the last, 4 or 5 months, that I've had plenty of support from not just, as I said, the Gold Coast boys, people that I played nationals with last year and have just reached out and have helped me get through. Obviously grief's sad.
And you're talking about losing your mother?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So, and I've had a heap of support from veterans cricket that have got me through. So, and for that, I'm so thankful.
What does RJR mean to you?
RJR. So, Simo, Jason Simmons, and Ryan Armstrong are the RJR people on the coast. They've been going around for quite some time, and they're starting to break through. I'm so thankful that I was able to be picked up by RJR. Good bunch of people. They make quality gear. Balls, obviously, we're using them now, and I think we've only ever heard good results with the balls. I know through winter, people raved about the balls. So, they're going forward, which is really good. And as I said, Simo, I play with Simo, and he's a gentleman and he's a great bloke. Yep. And you can only ever ask for success for those sort of people.
The company's going to be there for a while?
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Supporting veterans cricket?
They're supporting veterans cricket. They're supporting the Gold Coast Thunder. They're supporting the local community. So in the grassroots of cricket, I can't really give you a figure of how much they've actually given away.
No, I understand.
To the grassroots, and that's important for our game to continue. So to be honest, RJR, they mightn't be a big brand like the old Kookaburras or the Graham Nichols or things like that, but definitely on the same path of Kingsgrove and things like that. Yep. So I'm proud to be a part of that.
How are you coping with Brisbane playing the grand final tomorrow?
I'm a Swanee supporter, so I'm okay.
So you're a Swanee supporter because you spent time in New South Wales?
I've always been a Swanee supporter.
Even though you moved to Queensland?
And I'm always going to be a New South Welshman too. So when the state of origin's on, it's always the Blues. So it was quite funny last year in Nationals. We won the final. Jace just got out, unfortunately, caught on the boundary.
A big blow on the boundary line too. He hit it magnificently, but unfortunately there was a fieldsman out there to take the catch, and it's 4 for 95 in the 14th over. We'll just talk you through this replay because it was outside the off stump, then he dragged it away on the onside. Perilously close to clearing the boundary, but very well caught. We've seen a few dropped out there, but that wasn't to be the case. 4 for 95. at the end of the 14th over, and I've got Darren Cox with me talking about RJA with relish, but also about Sydney Swans in the grand final tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped for that. I really, they've worked really hard this season. I'm not a massive AFL supporter because I'm a league supporter.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but I still follow, like any sport, But there is a couple of things I'd like to say, and while I'm on here and giving me the opportunity to do it. So, behind the scenes for us to be out here in Mildura, we've had a person do all, and you would have seen all the photos and player cards that RJR were putting up, and that was a person done. It was all done by a person called Mark Wade, and I play 50s with Wade. We call him Pup because he's only a youngster, but he's going to be playing nationals this year in Newcastle. But he did all that behind the scenes stuff and the social media stuff, and I just want to say from our team and from myself, thank you, because that was a thankless job, and he did an amazing job doing that. Put RJR out on the screen. So I know Wade, you're probably watching and listening, and as we said, I know he's going through some tough times as well at the moment, and all the best. Thank you.
No, good call. Finally, because we want to continue with the cricket, 4 for 95 at the end of 14. Vandermeer is 21 and Lovett is yet to score. What's your message then, Darren? We talked about you being aware that someone might be a bit flat, or after a team training doesn't want to join in, he might just want to wander off into the distance. What can they do without feeling that there's pressure on them to talk about stuff that they don't want to talk about? What's the go?
Look, I know with myself and being around sport pretty much all my life, that you can tell if someone's flat or down, and it's a matter about saying, are you okay? First and foremost, it's up to us to see that player and say, and reach out and say, are you okay? And as you said, some people mightn't indulge, but we'll say, okay, we'll go and have a beer, we'll have a chat, or we'll get amongst each other and try and not forcefully get it out, but just trying to get them to talk or open up.
Yep.
And I'm a big believer. Talking is the best policy, and once we open up and get things off our chest, we can move on. Yeah,
it's really important too that you're given a vehicle to do it here by not just talking to teammates, but you're talking to players that you're playing with against in the opposition, and there's so many more people to talk to.
100%. And it's like, as I said, up in Queensland, that's a great shot. That is a good shot. Good fielding. Very good fielding. It doesn't matter about your own team. It's about people, men in general, that we see on a not a regular basis, but we see them quite often. And as I said, I've got a lot of friends up here that might be playing for Australia or playing Div 4. It doesn't matter. It's about reaching out, making sure everyone's happy and enjoying life, because at the end of the day, we're only here a short time.
Oh, that's a good call. All right, Darren, thanks very much for calling in. Now, just hang on a minute. We've got Chris Fagan's on the phone. G'day, Chris. How you going, mate? Yeah. You what? You want to pass the message on to Darren? But he's barracking for Sydney tomorrow. The message is, we are the boys from Brisbane, tell me where the colours.
I think you're dreaming, Walshy. I think you're dreaming, mate. But it's been an absolute pleasure to come in. And I just want to say, awesome job last week on the Tri Series, and I watched it from home, and commentary was A1. So really well done.
Well, it's very kind of you to say that, and of course to pass that on to Pat. And to
Another
people,
6, great shot.
But like yourself, because we've had people come up and say hello and give us your message, and you've said that and done that with pride. Well done.
Thank you, Walshy. Really appreciate it.
All
Thank
the
you.
best.
Cheers.
That's Darren Cox, who's decided to barrack for Brisbane tomorrow in the grand final. I doubt very much that's going to happen, but still, it's all good to be able to have a chat to these people who have a message to deliver. And that was, of course, Darren Cox from RJR All-Stars. The score in this match, 4 for 106. We've got 5.1 overs remaining. The run rate is 7.15. And I don't know what the gettable target is. 5 overs remaining as Pat Silcox jumps back into the commentary box. Good chat there with another man who's got plenty to offer. And Pat, Darren Cox, loving the chance to be here too and to punch out a very good message. And similarly, and I don't say this and it's not ad nauseum, I'm very careful with what I say. Sometimes when you don't want to talk, well, no one's going to force you to talk, but if you're going through a flat time and you're surrounded by people and you want to have a yarn, well, social media might be the way to go. It might be that you send a text message or you leave an email in the system, but if you can get it across and you feel better for it, well and good.
Sounds fair to me, Walshy. We might get through this over. We might give you a spell, give you a chance to stretch the legs. I think Anthony Telfer's going to jump on and
Beautiful.
Have some words to us shortly as I see that replay of that last ball from Craig Kelly's thundering into the pads.
Could you just run through the card for us, if you don't mind too, because whilst I was chatting then I was not writing down all the stuff that I should be.
Just give it a quick refresh. I think my hotspot's just dialed out
Oh,
momentarily.
the old hotspots died out. Well, if I knew what that meant, I'd be really feeling sorry for you, but I don't, so I won't.
Bear with me. I'll get something going again here in a moment.
4 for 107 is the score at the moment after 15, and we'll just give you a quick burst through of what has happened. Beautiful afternoon for cricket here. 5 overs remaining.
Right, I think we might be in a position here to have a look at that card for you, Walshy.
Beautiful.
So we just wait here on the bowling of, is it Johnny Butterlick, who looks like he's going to be coming in from the southern end, following his leg spin. Ball is taken by Van der Merwe around the corner, only just saved inside the fence there by Robert Nichols on the boundary. So another single there to add to the tally. So McIntosh was out, caught Golan bowled Backerberg for 23. Baird caught Zani bowled Golan 22. Hancock was bowled Nichols for 3. And our last wicket to four was Lavender caught Ewan bowled Warren for 21. Van der Merwe is 30 from 26. And the new man at the crease is Lovett. He's faced just the one delivery yet to open his account. He's on strike as he advances Butterlick as the ball is taken down towards the man long off. And Peter Walsh is going to have a quick break as Anthony Telfer will jump in here for the first time today into our broadcast position, as we were just having a bit of a chat with curator Lee Penner underneath the bar out the front here of the Mildura Senior College. And welcome to you, Telf.
Hey Silko, how are you?
Going well. What a beautiful day we've turned on here on a public holiday Friday.
Magic, absolutely magic. The most sunshine in Australia here apparently. And
Pictures.
today it's definitely, that's it.
Pictures are looking great, aren't they? Thanks to the boys from Be Live. Really just showing off the work of Lee Penner and what he's done to have the square looking sensational.
Yeah, it's immaculate out there and I know the players are appreciating it.
As it's hoiked away down there towards the man out at backwards square. And all good running from the RJR All-Stars. Got their score now to 4 for 110, and this is the 16th over. Van der Merwe 32. Lovett is 1. And they're well placed here to knock up a tally around 140, 150 if they can keep things going along.
Yeah, they're obviously Lavender was the key for their scoring, of course, but now that he's gone, Gary Lovett is a real dasher, loves running fast and hard, but also has the ability to clear the boundary. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with his innings over the next couple of overs.
As he swings around the corner out to the man there, deep mid-wicket, just the single.
In Nick Cullinane out there on the boundary in front of our Mildura and Hardy Australia signs, and obviously the 6 sign is out there, and there's $25,000 on the line there, Silko.
Not a bad little earner for a weekend's worth of cricket. As we can have a look, wave to the fans on the stream. Thanks to the Beeline boys for putting our ugly dials up on there.
Yeah, thanks. You can turn that camera off right now, thanks, Todd, or you won't get paid.
4 for 111 after 16 overs, and we are gone.
Yeah,
from
just
the
like
face
that.
of the earth, yeah. Van der Merwe 32, Lovett's 2. Butterlick gets through his first over at Rosemont Clip, just the none for 4. So it's Kelly's once again, with the keeper up to the stumps. We were discussing about whether Craig did or did not actually bowl off the wrong foot. According to him, it's been slowed down on the video, and he doesn't seem to think that he does let them go off the wrong foot.
No.
But gee, it's pretty close, isn't it? Like, get a good close look at him here. He's angling down the onside, and he's going to be plastered right in front of the bar here at Mildura Senior College, straight over the rope for 6.
Fantastic shot, but yeah, he definitely doesn't. I don't think he does bowl off the wrong foot, but if you have a look at it, it's not the stock standard delivery stride, is it? It's got a little bit of a hop and a skip.
Not a copybook delivery stride, as this time has been swung into the air. Who's going for the catch? It's up, and it's gone down.
Landed safely.
Yeah, down towards deep fine leg in the end, as the keeper was screaming to his teammates there to rally and get behind the ball, but did fall safely, as Telf suggested. So Lovett has really signalled his intentions here in this, the 17th over. He's 10 from 6, Van der Merwe 32 from 29.
And the keeper is Anthony Barenka, better known as Fuzz, and he's the current Australian wicketkeeper. Had a bit of a spell from the Tri Series, got a bit of a knee injury when he went on the Quad Series, and also to England. So the selectors gave him a spell, and the following week he's back here and keeping behind the stumps for the Sandgropers.
Well, the high, long ball, which is almost going to clear the rope again. In fact, it will. Kelly's just to that natural angle down the leg side. And I'll tell you what, Lovett has taken a liking to that, hasn't he, now, as he advances to 16 from 8.
I did say he has the ability to clear the boundary.
Yeah. Yep.
He's showing that this over.
Ropes, of course, in at that 55-metre mark. And we've certainly seen this clubroom side line cleared a lot more comfortably through the day so far. As he's opening up again, expansively looking to hit the ball on the onside. Strikes the pad. No run, so we had off this over so far. 14 from it, and Kelly's...
Very expensive over from Source.
Yeah, figures have just blown out a little, haven't they, here in the third over. 1 for 26. Keen to finish off on a good note here. As the ball's down the ground, and he's taken there at mid-off. So Kelly's has the revenge in the end. Picks up a wicket from his final delivery, has dismissed Gary Lovett. He's on his way for 16, and the score is 5 for 125.
That's called buying a wicket, isn't it? You'd be happy with that? 14 runs and a wicket to get the dangerous Lovett out, and he heads off to the pavilion. And we see Benny Warren coming out to bat now. It's Shane Dacey. And he's another powerhouse hitting all-rounder for the RJR All-Stars. So he'll continue on from where Lovett left off, and I think you'll see now the RJR will just power on and take all the risks in the world to get a score of up around that 160 mark. If they can get there, they'd be reasonably happy with that.
Round the grounds, out the back on Mildura Senior College number 2 in the 18th over. Saxon King struggling, 6 for 83. As we head out to Chaffey Park in Merbein, 18 overs almost complete there. EV2 cricket 4 for 140. Now we did see that Ashley Sippler got off to a bit of a start in that game. We might just check and see what he finished with. 61 from his 40 deliveries. Mark Kratzman back into the action with 25. And Andrew Kratzman with 16 there. So EV2 cricket well placed against Australian Pavilion.
And just on that, while you're going to the next game, maybe, Pat, anyone that's listening to our live coverage here on SOC TV Global, you can go to the Spirit of Cricket website, which is spiritofcricket.com.au, and Game Day is where you're looking for all of the results. If you head there, you'll see all games are currently being live scored, and you can follow your favourite Spirit of Cricket franchise there and get the ball-by-ball results through NV Play. As we see a ball smashed out towards the boundary line, and I'm not sure who actually hit that. It looks like it was Van der Merwe again. So he's powering on as well. He's having a great innings here today at the Senior College.
Lightning Storm are 2 for 172 in the 17th. Kawaja 78 not out from 40, and Robinson 49 not out of 28. So that's a big partnership building there for the Storm against the spot-on strikers who didn't get the best possible start this morning. So they're already looking down the barrel of another big chase, aren't they?
They are indeed. And look, they were two teams that both needed to get a win on the board at the end of day one. And at this stage, it looks like the Lightning Storm will get their first win.
It's Van der Merwe again, trying to find that mid-wicket boundary. Some good work in the deep there by Colin Bakerberg. 5 for 130, halfway through the 18th. Run rate 7.43. And with 2.5 overs to go, the Wasp projected Telf is 154, so you're talking up 150. Looks to be on track for that at the moment.
They are indeed. I love that Wasps. What does it stand for again?
Yeah, I knew you were going to ask me that. I haven't got an answer for you.
Wasp.
Win and score predictor, is that what it was?
That's it. Yeah. So the score predictor of 154. We'll see how well it goes with 2.3 overs to go.
Oh, that rose, didn't it, off a pretty decent length there from the leg spin of Budlik. Keeper taking it up nice and high above the stumps.
Makes it hard to bat facing that.
Especially when you're only just fresh to the crease, as Shane Dacey is. Again, a bowl of good
forward.
flight. Yep, just managed to knock it out into the offside, just to rotate the strike. Van der Merwe is the man that's going, so he's the one that needs to be on strike. Still time for him to knock up a half century here too. If he can get another couple of those boundaries away.
He was one of I actually played with the RJR All-Stars about 3 or 4 weeks ago up in the Gold Coast, and he was one guy that definitely I was looking out for this weekend. As he goes big again, and he's cleared the boundary again, and that's out into the car park, that one.
Saying to Walshy earlier, Telf, that my car's sort of almost parked in that vicinity, and I was a bit cautious when I walked away from it, thinking, gee, that probably wasn't the best move I could have made. I think I've hopefully come through unscathed there. But, yeah, Van der Merwe, the big left-hander, when he goes, he goes.
He does indeed. And he races to 43 from 33. This is great viewing, and hopefully all the people are out there that are watching it here on Sock TV Global are enjoying our coverage here. I just got a message from Marlon Merling, and he's just said that he's enjoying the coverage. I think he's based up in Sydney, I believe.
Another boundary for Van der Merwe, who inside outs one through the covers. Didn't make full connection, but still got enough on it.
Have a look at Wasp now. 160.
Yeah, 160. So he's advanced along to 47 from 34. And at the end of the 18th over, 5 for 141. It's a good score.
Yeah, it is. Have a look at the 6 sign out there. 75 metres off the bat. Hit that on the full. 25k. Thank you very much.
Welcome addition to our global Spirit of Cricket Festivale, as we, of course, today have transitioned from the 45 over try series into T20 mode, Telf, and it's all going a treat.
It is, yeah. Look, and walking around the grounds, because obviously we've got 3 grounds here at the senior college, and there's so many people here watching and enjoying the cricket. And what's amazing is that people are getting up and moving to the next ground as their team, you know, from the morning session to the afternoon session. The teams have got a massive following, which is really exciting.
So Kelly into his final over. This time he's full and straight, and all Shane Dacey can do is just push it back to the bowler.
Dace needs to get a move on now. He either needs to get a runner ball or have a go, mate, and hit it over the boundary.
Ball's angled into the onside as man there at mid-wicket couldn't quite retrieve, but they'll still just get the single. Still 5 wickets in the shed, so it's probably time for Dacey to go the long handle a little here.
Yeah, definitely. But he's done the right thing. He's got off strike, and he's put Van der Merwe back on strike, which is a bonus for the RJ All-Stars. Just while we're waiting for Source to come back in and bowl his next delivery, the balls we're using have been provided to us by RJR Sports. And a play and a miss outside off stump, and they're a fantastic ball. And I've heard we used the pink version in the try series between Australia, New Zealand and Australia A, and we've gone across to the white balls here this afternoon, and all reports from today's games this morning, everyone was extremely happy with the way the ball's handled.
Super slick bit of work from Anthony Baranka there behind the stumps. Van der Merwe is hustling through for a quick single, so Callings has got his radar back in focus here, and this is 4th and final over. Now these white balls, Telf, am I right, it's a bit more of a Kookaburra style of ball?
Yeah, they are, yeah, because the ones last week were the Duke version. We might see if we can get someone on from RJR to talk about the balls. Simo's probably, I can guarantee you, Simo won't be out there padding up, that's for sure. And there's a man under it down on the boundary line. He's under it. And
No, doesn't hold on to it, and it squirts through for 4-2.
it's bounced off his knee and over the boundary line. And that was Paul Wybird, I think.
Yep.
He'd be disappointed with that effort, mate. Birdie normally hangs on to those ones, but he probably just didn't quite get under it. It dropped on him at the last minute. You'll see.
Got down low, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he wasn't balanced when the ball arrived. There's a wide ball while we're watching the replay.
Initially, I reckon he was looking to have
Yeah.
fingers up, and then he got to that awkward position where he had to go down. And then,
Down.
as you said, he wasn't balanced.
No.
And it's tough enough to drop the catcher when it squirts clear and goes for 4 more.
Yeah.
Not what they were looking for, the Sandgropers. Dacey hits out through the offside. There's a man
It's
on the
another
ring
single.
there. Oh, there's a fumble.
Coming
They're coming
back
back
here,
for
he's gonna
2.
be run out.
Callies will do the work just off the camera there. So they've lost the wicket of Van der Merwe, and that's the one they didn't want to lose, Telf.
You're exactly right. It's probably, well, it was a crazy single. The ball only sort of bounced out a metre or so away, so it was an easy pick up and throw, return back to the bowler where they took the bails off.
It's a good hustle on the ring because
Yep,
it was
see
struck
there.
well, and he turned.
They must have thought it must have gone away, fair way.
Let's watch Dacey again. He's watching the field, like you said. Now
They didn't really run hard, did they?
I reckon it was Van der Merwe who initiated it. He turned and just come instantly there from the non-striker's end, and unfortunately finds himself short of his ground. So 48 from 36, great knock from Mark Van der Merwe for the RJR All-Stars. And with 1 ball to go this 19th over, 5 for 148. The Wasp at 160.
Still on the money. 12 off 6.
Couple of big hits.
See how they go. Two new batsmen as well will probably make a difference.
Kelly's finishing with 1 for 34 from his 4 overs. Looks like it's going to be Budderley who will finish off with his leg spin. So a bit of pace off here. Asking the question.
We had a great night last night at our launch of the Spirit of Cricket Global T20 franchise competition, and we had Rodney Hogg there. We had our Federal Minister Anne Webster. We had Martin Hawson, CEO of the Mildura Rural City Council.
Ball lofted out to the onside. They'll pick up a single. Yeah, I caught a bit of the march from the mall downwards on the live stream, Telf. It was just a great atmosphere, wasn't it?
Oh,
Well
it was.
received by all the punters at the restaurants on the way through as well.
Yeah, and there was even people, driving down Langtree Avenue, tooting their horns, and there was people across the road at the office sitting on the deck there with their cameras on, and I think that was a misstumping,
Yeah, Marenka didn't quite grab it cleanly at
No.
first attempt, as Dacey had skipped down the crease trying to take the ball downtown. I'll get a chance to have another look at a quick replay here. Let's have a look. Yeah, no, hit him in the body.
Yeah.
Didn't glove it cleanly at
No.
all. He was a long way out of his ground, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
6 for 150. Ball angled into the pads, turned around the corner. They'll pick up another run. Wasp is now just tightened a fraction, back to 157.
Nearly a chance of an overthrow, but Dace wasn't looking for it at the non-striker's end, so probably missed one there. Yes, but it was a great night, and we also had the Nelson twins there who entertained us, and also we had Paul Costa come in and sing the Spirit of Cricket anthem, which was very well received by all of the cricketers that were there last night, and we're going to be doing an official launch of that about the 22nd of November.
Oh, gee, there's some purchase there.
And that's out, stumped.
This time, no mistake from Anthony Barankat. And Kiwi Ben Homan's on his way. So, well bowled by the leg spinner. Just held that one back a bit, didn't he? Just a little bit pace off, and Homan just got himself into a bit of an awkward
Looks like
position there.
He must have stepped across a little bit because I didn't see the umpires call a wide then.
Just that
So it
extra
must
bit of
have been,
bounce too,
must
I
have been
think.
inside the line.
Yep. Bit of extra bounce
No,
from
no, no.
Homan. Here we go again.
So
Just
it's
got
down the
caught.
leg side. So, but I reckon he must have stepped right across from the front on. Yeah, that'd be great if we got a slow-mo from front on. No, the front on. Have you got one from front on? Okay, that's all right. Move on.
7 for 151 now. 2 balls remaining. And the new man is Matthew Pigg for the RJR All-Stars. You've potentially fallen maybe 10, 15 short of where they thought they were headed there at one stage.
Yep.
So
And
decent fight back.
that's a difficult. It's so important to keep someone in batting in these last 2 or 3 overs that's been in for a while, because it's so hard for those batsmen to come in and then just go from ball one.
Swung out into the onside.
And there we go. Commentator's curse. Hits me slap bang in the face again.
Goes for 4.
And Piggy did this up in the Gold Coast when we were up there. He has the ability to go bang straight away.
Did well to find the gap, because there is 3 men out on the boundary on that onside. So 7 for 155. Final ball of the innings here. And that's spinning away from the right-hander's bat. Baranka doesn't take cleanly. They'll get through for a bye. So the completion of 18 overs, the RJR All-Stars finish at 7 for 156. So
I'd love to have a look at that last ball just to see whether it was a mis-stumping or whether it was a... have a look at the side on if we've got it.
All right, that final delivery.
Yeah.
Here we go.
He's out. Oh no, not that. No,
That's
the last ball of the innings.
okay. We didn't
No,
capture
no
that
side
one.
on one.
No,
Okay, we'll
that's
get it
right.
next time.
So 7 for 156. Best of the bat was Van der Merwe with 48. McIntosh 23 and Baird 22 at the top. Certainly got the bowl rolling beautifully for the All-Stars. As we have a look down to the bowling figures, and a wicket for every single bowler who got through
Shared around
overs
there,
in that
Silgo.
rotation. They've done very well there, haven't they, to pick up a wicket apiece. And the target will be 157 in our second session of this second T20 clash. We'll have a
What we might do
20-minute break.
before we do go to the break, let's have a look at the other games just to see where they're at. Hey,
We can do that. Let's flick across. We can tell you that the Saxon Kings were bowled out for 86. Very low scoring game over the back at Mildura Senior College number 2. Jared Wyeth, more wickets for him, 3 for 17. Lewis also in the game with 3 for 25. Best with the bat was Guy Randell, who played a bit of a cameo down the order, 21 from 19 at the end, but not quite what the Saxon Kings would have hoped for after winning that opening clash here this morning. Let's try and go back to the competition centre. I think my laptop has a mind of its own.
No, that's
From
okay.
time to time, I'll get there for you in a second. There we go. EV2 cricket, 6 for 167 from their 20 overs. Let's have a look at the card. 61 for Ashley Sipple, 25 for Mark Kratzman. 2 wickets apiece for Latif and Tony Hickey. So it will be 168 for victory for the Australian Pavilion. And they'll be in pursuit shortly over there at Chafee Park.
and I would say Richard Gabb will be the key to the Aussie Pavilion team. If they're to chase 167 down, that's a pretty big score off 20 overs.
At Chafee it is, isn't it?
Yeah, and maybe Graham Crawford will have to contribute as well to help the Aussie Pavilion over the line.
Have a look at this one here. Lightning Storm have got over the 200 mark
Wow.
in their game.
Someone's got 100.
Yeah, Kawaja 100 from 52 deliveries. Robinson 57 from 39. That partnership took the score from 2 for 47 to 2 for 211 in 20 overs. That is pretty good going. That's out the back here at
Yeah, it
Mildura
is,
Senior
yeah.
College on the hard wicket.
It is.
So a tally of 212 required for the spot on strikers. They'll need to get going right from the outset, won't they?
Yeah, they will. That they've got a big job ahead of them to even get close. Obviously, they were disappointing in the morning game, and that chasing 200 is going to be a tough ask for them.
Right, Telf, we might take a brief sojourn while we've got this innings break, and we'll be back with the live action shortly. And we're back live with the second session of this second T20 clash as part of the Global Spirit of Cricket Festivale. The RJR All-Stars batting first after being inserted by the Sandgropers. 7 for 156 from their 20 overs. Mark van der Merwe 48, Scott McIntosh 23 and Paul Baird 22. So the Sandgropers need 157 to win in this second session as Peter Walsh rejoins me here at the broadcast position. Walshy, it's a big challenge.
It is, yes. A lot of big challenges going on out there. One of the challenges is to keep a straight face when some of the stories are being told in the back of the box that will be repeated at a function we're going to tonight to hear a couple of luminaries talk about things that happened before some of us were even born.
Wow.
But still, it's none for none. And yeah, gettable target, do you think?
Well, I'll need to get a good start here. As we can see, Jason Simmons has taken the new ball for the RJR All-Stars. Our opening batsmen are Jamie Lee and Paul Wybird. Of course, we saw Paul extensively at the top of the list for the Australian A-boys in the Tri-Series. Looked good early, didn't he? But he just didn't quite go on with the job.
And I've got a curly one for you, and I apologise in advance because the discussions were going on. I was talking to Telf off air. Another chap came over and enjoyed the conversation as well. And that ball just wide of the off stump. And he said, what about the century that Khawaja scored?
Yes.
And I'm thinking, what have I missed? What have I missed? And we went into detail about just out the back.
Yeah. They scored in excess of 200 out there, 2 for 211 in their 20 overs. So huge effort. Going to have a look at that score for you shortly.
That'll be good. I'll be happy about that. Yep.
Wait on Simmons again. As he fires one in at the stumps there, and it's pushed down the ground to the man on the ring at mid-on. So first runs on the board for the Sandgropers. It's one of the scorers. Gets through a bit of a sneezing fit behind us there. But
just ruined the computer screen, I think, with that one, but still.
So, yeah, 2 for 211, which is good going in itself. And Khawaja 100 from 52 deliveries with 12 fours and 4 maximums. And Robinson, his ally at the other end, 57 from 39, 6 fours and 2 sixes. So that partnership took the score from 2 for 47 to 2 for 211.
That is amazing. 2 for 211 off 50 overs. Wow. Oh, 20 overs.
20 overs.
Excuse me.
50 overs would have been good going at 4 and over, but 20 overs. Yeah, the second ground here at Mildura Senior College has certainly been conducive. So too the third ground on the hard wicket where this game was played. Smaller venue, so the batsmen have really dialed in, got the score going. As it's almost chopped down onto the stumps there by Lee, as Simmons really builds a nice bit of steam coming in from the school end. None for 2 in this first over.
Let's see if we can get some of these people that make centuries to come and say hello, but they're that busy, aren't they?
They are. Yeah, we're playing 2 games daily, aren't we? 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, although tomorrow will be a bit of an earlier start as we try and get through them before the AFL Grand Final. 9 o'clock start here tomorrow morning for Game 1. So one just past the outside of the off stump. And that looks to be the end of the first Simmons over. Just waiting for our MVP play scorers just to catch up a couple of deliveries at the back end there. The rate required is 8.02. And our winning and score predictor, 56% in favour of the team batting at the moment. So it's obviously lending more itself to the team that's got the runs on the board at this particular point in time, Walshy.
I'd like to know of the percentages too as to who'll win the US president election, because I want to have a bet. And I just want to know what the odds are. We've got the cricket odds here at the beautiful downtown Mildura ground, but what about for the USA presidential election? Have we got the figures there?
We'll have to dig deep into our bag of tricks for that one, I reckon, Walshy.
What else have you got there so I can write it down?
Come back to you in a sec as we await this second over to get underway. Looks like Matthew Pigg is going to bowl with the baseball cap on in reverse style. So it's setting a bit of a fashion trend here as he comes in from the southern end. Slow pace-off delivery, which is well encountered by the All-Star fieldsman inside the ring. So we saw the Saxon Kings only make 86 in their innings.
86.
Behind us on the number 2 ground. Team Thunder are 1 for 12 in their pursuit. 4 overs almost gone there. Australian Pavilion are none for 21 after 3, chasing 6 for 167 set by EV2 Cricket.
That could be a good one.
Should go down to the wire. Spot on strikers are none for 6 in the first over, chasing down the target of 212. As we see a shot dispatched down the ground. Once again, my car's in jeopardy.
Okay.
It's going to go all the way for a maximum. So Lee is 7, Wybird is 2, none for 9 midway through this, the second over. Yeah, no, my car's nowhere near there, so I'm feeling a lot better about myself now.
Yeah, I've got a question that perhaps we could ask the Mildura Council to sort it out. Why are there palm trees everywhere?
No, I wouldn't say everywhere, but certainly dotted along this route as you head down towards the CBD on Deakin Avenue. It's certainly a visual presence.
It's pleasant, but I have to say that when I was with my partner, we went for a walk just during the lunch break and sat and had a salad roll, and I showed her where the tree had dropped a fair bit of rubbish. I tell you what, that was heavy rubbish, that. It wasn't just twigs.
Yep.
And it didn't, well, I don't want to, get too carried away, but the fact of the matter was no one got hurt. That was the main thing, and there was no damage to any vehicles. That was the main thing. But it wasn't far away from people and or vehicles.
Yeah, a little bit of a risk you take parking here at the Mildura Senior College as once again Lee steps into one and deposits it down the ground. We got a couple of people just walking past that'll be able to go and retrieve that ball as it squirts away there towards the college in there behind us. So another boundary for Lee. That should take him to 11 once we get that update from the MV Play system. Score none for 13. There we go. 2 overs ticked over. None for 13. Lee's 11 off 9, showing great intent. Wybird is 2 from 3. Pig 1 over, none for 11. So not the tidiest of starts.
No, that's exactly what we didn't want to happen. And the afternoon, as it continues to meander along, offering up a bit more sunshine. Not hot, but you've gone from 15 on your phone to 18 on your phone. And that's a hint for you to go to another level, which I'm sure you will, as this ball is hit down the ground on the air. Should be caught. And it is. Held in the air for a period of time, but the first wicket falls with the score at 13, with Lee and Wybird out there. The partnership ends as we watch this ball now being delivered by Pig, and the lofted drive underneath it to mid-on, or a bit deep at mid-on, and a good catch taken in the finish too. One of those ones where you wobble, get yourself set, and when you are set, let's just have a look and see who's taken the catch. It's going to be taken, and the turnaround didn't take place, but we'll find out in a minute. It's 1 wicket for 13. We think it might be number 11 who might have taken the catch. Although I'm not 100% sure. I was just earwigging on Horse, who's next to us, the scorer. But we're not really sure as to who took the
Homan
catch.
was our man, number 6 by the looks. Called home and bowled Simmons. Wybird out for 2, so once again, not able to get himself going. I can tell you, Walshy, that currently we're sitting on around about 21.9 degrees locally.
Now, gee,
Yep.
that's good.
Yep. So we're pretty much at our maximum expected of 22 locally today. As the new man to the crease is Nick Cullinane. He'll come in at 3. Joining forces with Jamie Lee, who's ready to couple of nice boundaries so far in his 9 deliveries out at the wicket. 1 for 13.
And a wicket to Simmons.
Very tidy from the school end in his first over, and then first up here in his second, picks up the breakthrough. This time he's angling the ball back in at the right-handed Cullinane, who just pushes out to mid-wicket. Had a chance, Walshy, to have a look at the pitch square and the transition between the two games, and it's looking fantastic. I was having a chat to curator Lee Penner, and he's expecting that we'll probably use one of these other wickets across on the right-hand side as you watch the stream, should I say, in the next games over the next couple of days.
Just repeating the earlier news, the day has been studded with highlights. The highlight of a century to Simon Nish, 106, 11 fours and 5 sixes, and 111 to Kawaja. Now, the first question, obviously, is there any relationship there? Is it Usman Khawaja and this Khawaja? Although I'm led to believe it's a different spelling, and if that's the case, obviously they're not related. But
Adnan Khawaja, let's have a look at his stats here. Played Premier first for Footscray. He's also played for Port Melbourne in the VTCA, captain the Masters 40s team.
he's got good credentials, hasn't he?
As that one's taken out towards the man there on the third man boundary. Cullinane's underway. Score is 1 for 14, and this is the third over. Have a look in the field. The All-Stars have a man stationed out at third man. They've also got the sweeper here on the onside at deep mid-wicket. So that one is tucking up Lee. Nicely bowled by Simmons into his second over. 1 for 3. Score is 1 for 14 after 13. 3 over, should I say. 11 from 10 was Lee. And the new man, Cullinane, is 1 from 4. First man out, of course, was Wyberg. Caught Homan, bowled Simmons for 2. So a good start from the All-Stars as they look to defend that target of 157 in this second session of our second T20 fixture.
And we roll, of course, through the 4 games of each day. Similarly, the grand final tomorrow. I wonder about the nerves. What are we up to now? Locally, it's 1600 at 4 o'clock. And this time tomorrow, we will be probably around about getting towards half time, I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's all this talk about last week they started a game where Geelong played and they started it at 5:15 or something like that. I don't know what your thoughts are because, Pat, you're like me, you just love your football, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on at the football that people want to see, particularly those that are members of teams that aren't playing, but they still get a ticket and you like to see who is going to be the guest appearance, etc., etc. I know that I went to one where Angry Anderson was there at Waverley Park back in 1991 when he came out.
Came out in the Batmobile, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
He did, that's right. And I shouldn't speak ill of someone that we've lost, but without question, one of the disappointments from my life in going to the football grand final was Meatloaf.
Yes.
Did I take the words right out of your mouth?
Yeah, I think you did, Peter. Katy Perry, of course, entrusted with the pre-match entertainment duties tomorrow, as that's shot with authority through the offside. Nicely worked away by Lee, who's been able to find the boundary so far at the start of this innings. He's 15, score is 1 for 19 in the 4th over.
Interesting too, all of the stories that pop up at appropriate times or inappropriate times, and one of them is about Mike Brady and his Up There Kazali song, which is sang for 100 years. And now there's a court case that looks like it will reappear because one of the England teams in what's being played as the game, one of the best games in the world, the FA Cup, etc., uses the jingle and some of the words from Up There Kazali song. And
is that right?
Yeah, and we've got some litigation now taking place before Mike sings it again tomorrow.
Disappointing, isn't it?
It's a wonderful song, isn't it? Did you like it?
Yeah, I do. And I watched the AFL 360 last night, and the boys had Greg Champion doing that's the thing I love about football, which is one of the other great footy songs that goes around at this time of year.
And of course, the other one they haven't been using is "We're a Happy Team" at Hawthorn, but that, of course, has
might
been
be next
used.
year, Walshy. Might be next year, based on what we've seen in this 2024 campaign. As Lee is once again getting the ball out into the depths of the boundary there on the onside, he'll get through for 2. And score now 1 for 21, Lee 17, so he's leading by example. Ben Homan is looking to try and do a job here for the All-Stars. Featured in the Tri Series recently. Just forcing Lee back into his crease. He can't find a gap there at short third man. That's the end of the 4th over. Score is 1 for 21. Lee is 17, Cullinane is 2, and Homan none for 7 from his opening over.
Hope you're enjoying our coverage of what we're bringing to you, and we have been bringing to you right throughout last week with the spirit of cricket. The big final that was played last week. Was it last week? Earlier this week. It's hard to keep tabs of what's been happening in this wonderful world, but still, we've been blessed with some very good weather here in Mildura. We had some rain a couple of days ago, or nights ago, and Sunday being looked at with some fear and trepidation, but nothing definite has shown up, nothing definite, so we keep our fingers crossed. And to all of those football leagues that have their finals on, and for, of course, rugby league, they've still got a couple to go before Melbourne Storm win again. Is that a fair call?
Well, I reckon the Penrith Panthers might have a little bit to say about that. They're in action against the Sharks, I believe, tonight. That ball's hit out through the offside for another single. Panthers going for 4 on the bounce, which would be quite remarkable in the modern era, wouldn't it?
Oh, it's extraordinary when you think about what hasn't happened in the AFL. Well, Brisbane Bears did it 3, and Richmond 3 out of 4 years.
Hawthorn did 3, of
Hawthorn
course.
did 3, yeah. But it's just amazing. Just amazing. And that's not what the AFL want. AFL want 18 different premiers in 18 years. When the draft and the life-changing phone call or knock on the front door or that, it all takes place, and we see what happens to the world of football and the world of the draft. The kids moving from Tasmania soon, I suppose. They'll be scalped up and hunted off into a different part of Australia.
It's going to be a good depth for the talent stocks around the country with an extra team coming into the equation, won't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember when the Tassie Mariners were playing and they were coached by Chris Fagan. It's going back a long time.
Yeah, righto.
Yeah. And good luck to Chris Fagan too. And I've got a piece of information about one of his specialist coaches, which you'll be stunned by, Pat.
As we see a wicket, Simmons getting through Culline's defences. So a second one on the way now for the Sandgropers. The All-Stars making a great start here in this second session. Simmons, his second wicket, 2 for 5 in his third over. Cullinane out bowled by Simmons for 3. Get the chance to have another look at this from the side-on angle. And beautifully bowled. So we're going to get another fresh man to the crease. We get a good look at it from behind the wicket this time. Slow-mo as well. And it's just clipped the top of middle and off. Perfect line of length.
I like it when the lights go too, and that's because of Jeff Charlesworth is one of the umpires, and I'm not sure whether it's his imaginative and creative thinking, but the lights do flash and that makes it good. But just this trivia question that, yeah, I'm not sure what he does, but he does it very well. Phil Smythe was captain of the Australian men's basketball team for a long time and then coached the Adelaide 36ers and played for the Adelaide 36ers, was called the General. Very good man, I like him a lot, and we have a fair bit to do with each other when I was living in Adelaide, and he told me that he'd picked up a contract with the Brisbane Lions.
Is that right?
Yep. He has been with the Brisbane Lions for the last few years, and he's up there now, of course, waiting for tomorrow. Well, he's in Melbourne waiting for tomorrow.
The General.
The General, that's him.
Wow.
I've never ever, and I've got to be honest with this, I hope I'm honest all the time, I've never sat down and said to him, what do you do? Because as a coach of a basketball team, when you've got 5 players on court and you've got others that are about to go on and off and all that sort of thing, but he's such a strategical person and he's loving his role. Of course, they just got beaten last year and I wonder what will happen this year. But Phil Smythe is one on the coaching panel, a strategic analyst of the Brisbane Lions, and we'll be hoping tomorrow for success.
Be a good man manager too, I reckon, Phil. Of course, started his NBL career as a Canberra Cannon.
He did.
Was always a thorn in if you're in Adelaide 36, he was always a thorn in the Sixers sides through those great teams they had. James Crawford, of course, Herb McGeechan. They're always tough to beat, the Cannons.
They will, and I've got another snippet of information that I'm sharing here, and it'll get back to Phil, but it's all true, so it doesn't matter. This next ball is driven away on the offside, and there's no run. It's 2 for 25 of 1 ball remaining in the 4th, with Leon 18 and Warren yet to score. There was a big controversy before the Barcelona Olympics in '92 because of the possibility of AIDS, and Magic Johnson came out and spoke about it, and Adrian Hurley was the coach of Australia, and I'll just continue in a sec as this one is worked down the leg side for perhaps a leg by or maybe a single. And Phil Smythe was questioned as to whether or not he'd still play if there was the danger of playing against someone who maybe had contracted that disease, blah, blah, blah. And Phil was really good. He said, look, I'm going to play for Australia and I'll do this, this and this. So when we got to Barcelona, Magic Johnson came out and had a press conference. It was fine. And then Phil was asked plenty of questions. And I got to know a few of the journalists, and one of them said, any chance of getting an interview with Phil Smythe? And I said, well, all I can do is ask. And I asked the team manager and then got through to Adrian Hurley. And he said, it's up to Phil. Phil, that's fine, no worries. So Phil had the chat at the press conference with a lot of US journalists looking for a line, but Phil's not going to give you that. Phil was too smart. He got through it all right. That's 1992. Now, the years ticked by and Phil continued to play and then was back in Adelaide and they had their stellar seasons, late 90s, early 2000s. And he said to me one day over a pasta, he doesn't drink, we had a Coca-Cola between us, and he said, you know, it was all about nothing because I had no big beef with Magic Johnson and he had no big beef with me, but we had to do the right thing and answer questions. He said, when I walked into the stadium at the opening ceremony, we came in as a team, but then you sort of mingled around and that. And he said, guess who I walked with and had a good chat to? Magic Johnson. Had a chat, no big deal, we're good mates. And that's the way of the world.
Yep.
And that's just what Phil Smythe is. You wouldn't get a more honest soul than Phil Smythe and a wonderful coach, and may be part of a premiership tomorrow with the Brisbane Lions.
Shane Dacey's into the attack at the moment for the RJR All-Stars. He's rocking that sweatband around his bald nut up top, just trying to keep the sweat away out of his eyes. He's had a couple that have just kicked off a nice length from the southern end, which have been difficult for keeper Darren Cox to get his hands around. 2 for 27 now. This is the 6th over. Lee has advanced to 18. Warren, just the one to his name. Full of length delivery is knocked down towards mid-off. And there's no run. As we can see on the bottom of our NV Play overlay there, the Wasp is now 31% at a possible win for the Sandgropers. So it's going south very quickly, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, that's Donald Trump. That's the one I was looking for earlier on, that percentage. So that could be the Trumpmobile. And we don't talk politics on this program because I've got no interest in politics. But who'll win the election over in the US of A? I don't know. Do we care?
No, I don't think we do we really?
Don't know. Tidy over, but that's hit down the ground. That's a good shot. The reason it's a good shot is because the placement was there and it trickles past a couple of parked cars who look pretty impressive there too, by the way. And that's a 4. It's a good boundary too, a nice shot. They need that too. It's 5.5 overs down, 2 for 32. Lee on 19 and Warren on 5. The men out, we had, let's have a look, Wybird for 2 and Cullinan for 3. 1 for 13 and 2 for 23, and it's now 2 for 32.
Waiting for that ball to come back in from the car park. It's on the skip now to the bowler. And Dacey up until that moment and kept things pretty tidy. He's opening over. Slower off-pace delivery is worked down towards third man. It's another single for the Sandgropers, who are now 2 for 33 at the end of 6 overs. Lee is 19. Warren is on 6. Dacey 6 runs from his opening over.
Pat, earlier today we were joined by Darren Cox, who's from the RJR All-Stars, and it was good to have a chat with him. And we're also been given information regarding Blooming Minds, which is across the colours that we see that are emblazoned on the orange outfit. And so many people who are involved in talking, having seminars, getting together for those that are a little bit reluctant on chatting in front of people but would much prefer to be at one-on-one. And there's a few out there and wouldn't take much to jump online, bloomingminds.com.au if you need information that you would like to share, bloomingminds.com.au.
So change of headwear out in the middle at the moment. as the helmet will be removed. The cap will come into play.
That was impressive. That was a bit of fartlek training too by wearing number 11 on the cab. That was quite splendid, the speed that was shown.
Ben Warren's decided just to freshen things up a little here. Happy to take on the slower bowler without the helmet on. Looks like Gary Lovett's going to come into the attack from that school end. Swung away just forward of square. Will go all the way for a boundary.
We're disappointed with that delivery. Very short and dragged around on the onside with no degree of difficulty and straight to the fence for 4. It's a good way to start the over. Good way to build it up too, because the run rate requires nearly 9. We've got to move along. This one pushed away on the offside behind point for a single. Not a lot of boundaries being scored, but they need to be scored because that target is, well, it's a fair sizable away, isn't it? Man with sunglasses on, sending them down, and this one worked away on the onside down to long on for an easy single. They can just walk through. And now you had a good look at the tracks out there, which was good. You get close to smelling the grass out there. Was it a good feeling?
Yeah, it was, and I was, as I said, having a chat to curator Lee Penner, who was just remarking the lines while I was out there. And yeah, he's really happy with the way it's come together so early, because we're probably still a good week and a half to 2 weeks away from the local season starting. This is one of the venues that doesn't cop that full brunt of the footy traffic in the winter. They do train here, but they wouldn't get across the wicket square too often.
Yeah, fair enough. Went for a drive yesterday out to Red Cliffs. I think I might have told you that. And had a look here. The wine area around Mildura, or also in Mildura, it's quite spectacular. It really is. It's meticulously planned. It's as if you're 1 centimetre out of alignment, you've got a problem. You've got a big problem.
So 7 overs complete now. Score 2 for 42. Sandgropers needing a further 115 from the remaining 13 overs at a rate required of 8.85. So it's becoming difficult for the West Australian Combine, but they'll look to really back themselves in here through this partnership between Lee and Warren, which has advanced that score up to 41. They came together when the score was 2 for 23.
Lee's scored 21 from 20, but the fact of the matter now is that he is the man, or both are in double figures, but for Lee, who looks to be the one who's hitting with more power and with more placement, he's got to go on and score a big one. And there'd be a bit of zetting coming from the various rooms throughout the evening, because it's going to be a long afternoon. There's an appeal now for caught behind, was it? An attempt to cut the ball just wide of the off stump. The wicketkeeper got involved quite quickly. The bails are still there, so there was no appeal for stumping, but it might have been for caught behind. There's a replay.
Oh, keeper was confident, wasn't he?
He was,
Straight
very.
in the air with his hands. Score is 2 for 41 in this, the 8th over. We'll get a chance to have a chat to Sandgropers off-spinner Stephen Gollan, Australian off-spinner Stephen Gollan will come and join you, Walsh, in a moment to have a good chat as Pig continues. And Warren's watchful as he's pushing him back to the bowler for no run. Gets the leading edge. Oh, my goodness, Pig made some ground from where he delivered the ball to try and get in there on the wicket square to take the return catch. Couldn't quite make the ground that was required, but Warren leaving dangerously there, trying to turn the spinning ball away onto the onside.
Well, there's a fascinating part to this over, which I will embellish on right now, that Pig ran down, picked the ball up, but realising you have to get through your overs quickly, he ran back to his bowling mark, turned around, and was almost on his way in. As I speak now, he's ready to bowl the next ball, because you have to be aware as this ball is pulled away well on the onside, out towards the mid-wicket boundary. Just the one, or perhaps coming back for the two. No, just the one, thank you. And so the single is scored, and it's 2-4-43, I think it is, at the end of the 8th, with Lee on 22 and Warren on 12. Steve Goan, who we chatted to during the lunch break, just about off a bus, but now he's off the bus and into the change rooms, and it's good to have you popping over and saying hello and sitting down and relaxing where it all happens here, Steve. You're going to learn a lot of stuff here, mate, so pay attention. How are you going?
Yeah, I'm going very well, Walshy. Yeah.
That's good. What do you think of this game? How do you think it's all panning out now?
We just need to hit a few boundaries, I think. Yeah, 1 or 2 overs of 16 to 20 might help, and we've got the right man out there with Jamie Lee and Ben Warren. So
yeah, good partnership building too. They've 22 and 13 respectively. So with the partnership now is worth 20 runs. And this is the partnership now where you've got to go pushing hard to try and get up near that total.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. We've got some good hitters still to come, but you can't make runs from inside here.
In the shed, no, true enough. How close were you this morning to a win?
Well, Richard Gabb batted beautifully,
Yeah.
and made 80 out of the 150 I think we were chasing. So, yeah, we just struggled to hit boundaries where the Australian Pavilion team hit boundaries and hit a lot more sixes than what we hit. So we weren't far off, but I think the guys sort of struggled a little bit on the slower outfields and heavier grounds. Yeah.
How close was it for you to learn a lot about the opposition?
Well, it helps, obviously, playing in the Australian setup.
Of course it would,
and some of the players which we've played against, obviously, and played with, you sort of know them. But some of our teammates across from Victoria, New South Wales, obviously knew some of the other guys as well. And we've got a source playing from South Australia. He obviously knew quite a few of the South Australian boys, and always helps when you've got stuff like that.
And yourself, how do you rate what you did in the game?
Thought I bowled well. Yeah, I think I went for 14 and had one for off the 4 overs. So, yeah, we'd always like to get a few more wickets, but, just the nature of the game. But
and what sort of a team do you reckon you've got? You've got at the top of the order when you can mention names like Jamie Lee, but overall, what do you think are your strengths?
Well, I think our bowling, we've got a pretty good mixture of spin and that, and our batting, I think our bowling could be one of our strengths. Our batting, we have got a couple of good bats. Now, if they hit their straps, we'll obviously go pretty well. Not saying that we'll win, but we can make some good scores and score freely. So we just need to, hit the boundaries a bit more.
True, okay. Well, you've gone from Tri-Series where it's one sort of cricket to another sort of cricket, another form of cricket. How different is it for you to do that?
It's probably a little bit different. Like bowling 4 over spells is not too bad for me. Sometimes if you're bowling your 9 over spells straight, sometimes you get a bit tired. But
yes, understood.
I'm just... So it probably doesn't change too much for me, like just trying to hit a decent line of length and, try to get through the overs quick. If we can get through, that sort of puts pressure on the batters. But, like setup-wise for me, it doesn't change too much.
But the satisfaction enjoyed in playing in the Tri-Nation Series, what was that like?
I loved it. Yeah, always loved playing, obviously, for Australia. And, like playing against the Australian A side was great because you've got a few friends there in that and mates, and then obviously playing against New Zealand, I've played quite a few games against them, and some really good friends and tough competitors. They don't like to give too much away, and I know they've had a pretty bleak week, but they'll bounce back for sure.
And this competition, as we watch the next ball of this over, that's the end of the 9th at 2 for 57, hit down the ground and hit very well indeed for 4. Wide of long off, it's gone all the way to the boundary, 2 for 61 at the start of the 9th, with Lee now 39 off 28 and Warren 14 off 16. They're batting well.
Yeah, very much so. And I think Ben hit a couple of big ones in the first game, so he can strike it as well. So, but Jamie sort of holds the key for a little bit for us at the moment because he's big and strong.
This competition, the best case scenario, of course, is we see the next ball hit with strength over the top, straight down the ground. The goal umpire, if he was there, would have had to run across and signify that's out on the full.
Yes, good
because
call.
it was a good shot, was it not?
It was a great shot. Yeah.
A big blast straight down the middle, 2 for 67, Lee 45 and Warren 14. But you've got sides now where you play 2 games a game and you turn around and you look at the ladder and you think to yourself, well, we're not in a bad position. How far do you reckon you can go?
Well, I think we can win. But I don't think we want to go 0-2 on the first day.
No.
So if we can go split this game and go 1-1, I think the shorter format games.
There's a wicket as we speak. Just as we say, let's not get a wicket. Well, we see the catch taken by Jason Lavender, and the wicket it's just tapped away into the onside. Lee out for 45, and it's now 3 for 67.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate.
He sort of held back on the power, whereas beforehand he whacked it straight over the top. At that one down the throat of Jason, and Jason Lavender took the easy catch.
Yeah, I think Piggy bowling I might have held that back a little bit, so got stuck in the wicket a bit. But it's a good wicket.
Is it all right?
Yeah, off us a bit, and but I think if you can get in, and I think they showed it too. You can get away with a few free hits. So
now tell me, the big question, of course, is how's your body holding up? Because you've had lots of cricket in the last week and a half.
Yeah, not too bad. No.
What goes first when you hear a creak? What part of the body do you say, look, I better get that sorted?
Oh, look, if I'm honest with you, like I will be. No, my one of the knees, I've had it scraped about 5 years ago.
That's an arthroscopy?
Yeah. And it's sort of swelling up a little bit, but Ross gets us in the pool, and
Ross
from our doctor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And as long as we do the rehab, and that's what I try to do, just get in the pool, rehab a few, dare I say it, anti-inflammatories, and we're good to go. So that's normally that. The shoulder's okay, which is good for me. And
does it impede, say, you're throwing from the deep if you're out in the deep and you've got to throw the ball in?
Not really. No, I can still get it about 50, 60 metres. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah, but any further, it'll be a relay for sure.
So what happens now when this tournament is out of the way?
Yep.
What's in the future for you? Are you a World Cup for Sri Lanka man?
I'd like to be considered.
Yeah,
and we'll see what happens. Yeah, look, if I get offered an opportunity, I'd take it with open hands.
Absolutely.
But then, like a lot, I'll go back. We'll play obviously club cricket in Beverley and go to the Nationals, and we'll see what happens. But if I get offered that honour to play again, talk to the wife and the family, and that's all first for me. Then,
but it's all good about having that support. That's absolutely essential. There's nothing like going away and knowing that, all right, the family says yes, it's good, but then when you leave, they think, oh well, we're by ourselves again.
Yeah, well, Sam, my wife, she's been really good because it's her birthday today. So
happy birthday,
happy birthday, Sam.
Sam, how good's your husband? He's over here playing cricket. He's not even buying you flowers or chocolates or anything like that. And it's your birthday, so that's a big bonus. You're not going to tell us how old she is. We don't want to know. But you've looked up with presents and stuff like that, haven't you?
Well, definitely. I brought her a present before I left.
What did you buy?
It was like a veggie cutter type thing.
Veggie cutter. That sounds so unromantic and so boring. A veggie cutter for your wife's birthday.
Yeah, that's right. That's the sort of bloke I am. Always thinking.
Always thinking. And that was it, was it? That was on the top of the hit parade. I'll have one veggie cutter, thanks. Excuse me, can you do a better deal than that? I'll go to Bunnings. Good grief. So the veggie cutter, nothing else?
No, nothing else.
Oh, right.
I'll buy a present when I go home. We'll pick up something at the Mildura airport or something like that. No. No, not really.
The Mildura Airport. I'm happy with that. But no, I'm being serious now because you've got to have an understanding commitment from not just your partner or wife or whatever, but how many kids you got?
3 boys.
And are they all cricketers?
Yes, yep. The eldest one's Daniel's 27, plays first grade for Western Suburbs.
Oh, good on him. Yep.
Luke, the middle one, he's 25. He plays first grade for Claremont Nedlands.
Yep.
And then Liam's 22. He had his birthday while I was over here too.
Okay.
And
What did you buy him? A kitchen utensil?
some Spirit of Cricket socks.
Oh, how good's that?
Yeah.
I think I saw them at $1.95 they were at some shop. I think it was the Reject shop.
Yeah, and and they're very supportive, and I am pretty lucky.
That's good.
Yeah, the family's behind me doing this, and it helps.
Yeah, I think you've said enough. I think you've dug a big enough hole with the birthday girl. But at the score now, let's get serious. At 3 for 72, I've got special guest Steve Goan here with us. 3 for 72, heading towards the end of the 10th over. It's 10.4 overs, and the target is 156. What have I seen? No, it's all right, just looking.
No, I thought he was run out.
The bails have been removed, but everything's okay. Now, a final one from you.
Yes, mate.
Where does the game go from here now? I know we were talking in glowing terms about Jamie Lee. Well, he's gone now. What's going to happen?
Hopefully we get one more run than the baddies.
Yeah.
But no, look, we've still got some striking power back here in the shed. So if all goes well, you just need 1 or 2 blokes to come off for some quick 20s, and hopefully we've got enough momentum to keep going.
Yep. Fair call.
And get it. So we're about just short of halfway, and we need
we'll
to
see what happens. So,
Yep.
and I want to ask you, Steve, about Blooming Minds, because of course that's emblazoned across the top that you wear with so much pride.
Yep.
As a member of the team with Blooming Minds now, heavily involved in the franchise, what does that mean to you?
Oh, look, I think to me it means a hell of a lot, because it supports all the players, and also with our cricket with health and men's health and any type of health, mental health. They obviously do a tremendous job, and I know with Broomy over here, there's been a couple of guys already have been going to go and talk to him about what they do.
Yep.
And you never know, it might expand further into South Australia and
that's a
different
good
things
thing.
like that. But it's just wonderful that they've come on for 3 years and to fully support what we're trying to do, and they're great supporters also of obviously the WAVC. So our veterans cricket and that, it's wonderful.
Well spoken. Good on you, Steve. Thanks a lot for coming up.
No worries, mate.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
And don't forget
Cheers,
that
Walsh.
veggie slicer or whatever it is that you bought your wife.
Can't
That's a
think.
really good one there, mate. Well, I wouldn't suggest you say anything more about that on air, okay?
Okay, mate. See you later.
Thank you to Steve Golan, one of our special guests. They're all special. It's good to see that they've come in for a chat, and Steve goes well. There you are. Now, the score at the moment is 3 for 73 with Warren on 15 and Newman on 4. Pat Silcox, who never forgets his wife's birthday, will buy more than just a veggie slicer, but still, it's the thought that counts, isn't it? Pat, welcome back.
Thanks, Walshy. The only reason I'll never forget my wife's birthday is because it's Halloween. So that's a pretty poignant date in the calendar, isn't it, to remember?
Oh, I'm not saying anything. I'm just keeping out of it. But I think Steve was good enough, even though he didn't have a spade. He was able to dig a big enough hole for himself, wasn't he?
Yes.
I think so.
Yep.
Good.
It's lavender. He's bowled a no ball. I was going to say it was heading down the leg side for a wide, but he's overstepped the line, so that should give us the signal as a free hit here from the umpire, should it not? There we go.
Yep.
So how's Benny Warren going to take this one on? He's looking around on that onside to see if he can hit the ball to the boundary. As he advances, turns it around the corner and cashes in with 4 runs. As they continue to chip away at this target, 78 from 51 required, 7 wickets in hand, and Warren continues with his score now 19 from 21. Newham's on 4 from 7.
4:30. What time will this game finish?
Oh, you think we'd be done before 5, wouldn't just before 5 maybe? 5
Another
to
half an
5?
hour, you reckon?
Yeah, they've only got another 8 overs to bowl through after this one.
Mm-hmm. Big function tonight too with speaking prowess of Doug Walters and Rodney Hogg. Be good to hear them both. Hoggy was speaking last night and Dougie was there, which was good. And you're just never too sure. You walk out of one door and go into another one. There's another function, and you walk out of that door and you walk into the Murray River and you think, I've gone too far.
Yeah.
Ready to see. There's an attempt to drag away on the onside, but it's the body of the man on strike and there's no run. We'll check those other scores for you shortly. The big news today, a couple of centuries. One by Simon Nish, who got 106, and the other by Kawaja. What was his first name again?
Adnan, I think it was.
Adnan Kawaja, who scored the big century as well, 111. So a couple of centuries. Remembering this is 20 over cricket. And that's pretty impressive. 12 down, 3 for 81. The partnership is 14 off 15 balls, and they're going to be need to move on a little bit quicker, that's for sure. Now, what have we got here for us, mate?
Yeah, around the grounds. Senior College number 2. Saxon Kings, of course, batting first. Finished with 86, but Team Thunder 4 for 54 in 13. So that's going to be a tight finish behind us here at the Mildura Senior College. Out at Chafee Park, Australian Pavilion are 4 for 78 from 12, chasing target of 168 for victory. I'll just check in and see how our man, Mr. Gabb, is getting on there at the crease. He was out pretty early in the piece. Caught M. Kratzman to bowl Meek for 16. Mark White is leading a bit of a resurgence at the moment for the Australian Pavilion. He has 21 from 25. Of course, Mark doing a bit of work on the Mike Forrest during the Tri-Series tournament. And in the other game, spot-on strikers going okay. 3 for 83 from 9.4, chasing that target of 212. 129 to win from 10.2 overs, but they do have 7 wickets remaining, Walshy.
Yes, it's all the old wickets that are still in the shed. This is the first ball of a new over. Hit straight back down the ground over mid-off. It rolls away and rolls away quickly. No possibility of any of the fieldsmen getting near that. Running back was Jason Lavender. He couldn't gather it in, so that's a 4. A good way to start the over. Hit crisply and, more importantly, safely.
You get the feeling that they're backing themselves in here in this run chase. Got themselves pretty reasonably set here midway through the second power play. As Newham is giving himself a lot of room outside the off stump to swing it around the corner. Can't quite make connection, so Dacey may be getting away with one there. What a lovely day it's been today, Peter.
It has
Blue
been,
skies and very minimal winds.
Oh, very pleasant. Very pleasant.
And stumped off the wide. I think you'll find Darren Cox was too good that time for Newham as he chased one down the pitch. It swung away from the edge of his bat. It was called a wide by the umpire. But Cox was right on the job here behind the stumps, and you'll get a good look at this one from side on as the advancing Newham is caught well short of his ground. And a 4th wicket to fall now for the Sandgropers. They are 4 for 86. In this, the 13th over. Our new man to the crease is Craig Callies in at number 6.
Yes, deft work. We've seen some very good keeping. And I'm reckoning that the batsman will be frustrated and angry. Just slaps the bat on the boot, hits himself on the toe, but doesn't hurt himself. But just released the pressure. He jumped down the wicket, and when he'd missed, you knew that there was going to be all sorts of bother. And the wide called and stumped. Out by a fair margin. 3 for 85. Runs to win 72. Balls remaining 45. And you pick up a wicket like that, particularly when there is a partnership developing. The partnership had only added 19 runs, but was starting to look a bit ominous. And when you get that wicket, it's an ouch bite for you. No good.
So Callies will look to get himself going straight away here. Tick the strike over. Let Benny Warren take it on, who's been able to find the boundary during his stay so far out there in the middle. That one's decking back there as Callies is forced back, and then there's some hesitations. He looks to try and get up the other end. Sent back by his partner Warren. But Plenty in that one there from Dacey, coming back off the track. Cramping up the new man at the crease. This one's wide outside the off stump, and you can see the blue line just at the right foot of the keeper there. Ball passing outside that zone, which means must be signalled wide by the umpire. 70 to win, 44 balls remaining, 6 wickets in hand. 4 for 187. 4 for 87, beg your pardon, in this, the 13th over. Callies is getting all caught up there as he tried to swing a long one over that mid-wicket fence. Had a boundary in this over, a wicket, a wide, so...
Well, mixed lollies, isn't it?
Good collection from Dacey. Keeping everybody interested here at the Mildura Senior College. Tom Callies is back and across and in control of that one as he pushes out onto the offside. Opens his account, moves to 1. Score is 4 for 88 at the completion of 13 overs. Warren is 20, Callies is 1. Dacey has bowled 3 overs and has taken 1 for 18.
You know, where we have players and administrators filling out forms at the end of day play about, you know, was it good, bad or indifferent. I'd love it that one person would take on the responsibility to fill out a questionnaire form and give it to us so we could read it out the next day about what is their plan for rehab on the first day. What do they do? Do they believe in ice baths? Do I believe in some of the players going for a run, a few laps afterwards? Sometimes you see that with AFL sometimes, but I'm not trying to make comparisons. Or what do they do? Is there in the gym on the exercise bike? Do they walk on a walking machine? Do they go in the pool at most of the hotels that we're staying at? We're only staying at one, but I'm just not sure. And I'd love to know because, yeah, it's different injuries. We've had groin strains, we've had hamstring strains, we've had, of course, the significant injury to Owen Gilchrist that was a snapped Achilles, but little niggles. And even then when we were talking to Steve Goan, they were talking about some meniscus being taken off one of his jiggers in the knee. Andrew McLeod tells a story about he just hasn't had meniscuses for ages and it hasn't stopped him from running like a gazelle for the Adelaide Crows team. But all the injuries that we have to look at and we talk about, I'd like to know more about that. So organise that, please, Pat.
Do my best for you, Walshy. That is going to be taken on the ring as Callies is swinging around the corner. And I think that's Shane Dacey who's taken the catch.
It's not a bad little catch, is it? Very impressive catch. Well called too. It was dragged away outside the off stump and he hit it fairly well. That's a good catch.
Advancing in from his position out there on the ring. Callies has to depart for 2, and it's now 5 for 90, the Sandgropers. So, double strike for the All-Stars has probably just really got the scales well and truly tilted in their favour now. 67 to win, 39 balls remaining.
And when we did have Steve Golan with us, the thing that he did say, and he was very forthright, was we don't want 2 L's after the first day. We want, okay, we've got to get an L out of the way, but what about a W? What about an L and a W? They're beaten by the Australian Pavilion this morning at 5 for 146. In reply, they got 6 for 132. And you don't want to start a day of substance, a day where you're chasing a win to kick-start. We don't want that to happen. Other results are pretty interesting. We'll check them all when we get a chance. But this morning we had a win to Australia Pavilion defeating the Sandgropers 5 for 146 to 6 to 132. Team Thunder 6 for 173. Spot on strikers 8 for 86. Saxon Kings 5 for 131. EV2 Cricket 8 for 120. And we had a close one, RJ Stars 3 for 165. Lightning Storm 5 for 162. So Some good games and some better ones even this afternoon. We'll check them shortly because we're getting to a stage now where we've got just over 6 overs remaining in this game before we get a result.
Zani's working it around the corner. No run on offer there, 5 for 90. At the back behind us at the moment, Mildura Senior College number 2. Team Thunder are 5 for 62 after 15. Make it 5 for 64 now. First ball of the 15th as they chase down the target of 87 to win.
Good finish coming up there too, isn't it?
23 from 29 with 5 wickets remaining. Australian Pavilion, 6 for 88, almost at the end of 15. 6 for 88, chasing 6 for 167, so 80 off 31. Looks like EV2 Cricket will open their account in that second fixture. And the spot on strike is a 4 for 104 on the 12th. It's 4 for 104. Chasing Lightning Storms 2 for 211. They need 108 to win from 50 balls. 6 wickets remaining.
Zani's in, and Zani got runs early on today. Zani got 49.
So he'll come to the wicket with good confidence. As he's launching down the ground. Looks like he's, well, you can say he's found the gap, but it just pitched about 5 metres inside the line there. I'll get back for 2. So signalling his intentions early, Walshy. Enjoying a bit of fuller length as he hits down the ground there.
There's going to be no time to push and poke. You've got to get out there and have a dash. These games, they know how many balls to go. They know how many runs. It's 35 balls, 65 runs. It's a tough equation. And 1s and 2 aren't going to get them home. Game's commencing tomorrow morning. You said at 9 o'clock?
9 o'clock tomorrow, yep. Bright and early start. I think it's a little bit milder in the morning than what it was. It was quite fresh.
It was, yes.
I was out feeding the dog at about 7:30 this morning.
What a hero. That's a good effort from you, feeding the dog.
Thank you.
What's your dog's name?
Toby. Toby the lab.
Oh, Toby. Isn't that beautiful? Mum and Dad had a dog called Toby, one of those Maltese, whatever you call them. But it's going back a long, long time, and oh, what a beautiful puppy. Little house dog. Yeah, Maltese Terrier. That's it. So you go for a long walk, wouldn't you?
Not as many as I probably should. It's a plan of mine to get moving along, I think, in the warmer summer months.
Okay, so forget the dog, but then move into the sunshine. Okay,
Yes.
I understand that. Yeah, well, it's a poor ball.
Wide outside the off stump from Dacey. As the keeper stretched and did his best to block that one through. Cox at full extension, couldn't cleanly glove it, but he was able to knock it down to the man who was fielding there into backward point. Zani is hitting out through the offside. Picks up a single to the sweeper. He's got himself parked around, well, that hit me for 6th side out on the Deakin Avenue side of the Mildura Senior College. Money's remained safe so far today.
Do you think it will be safe? Do you think there'll be someone that'll get close to it?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Certainly out there it's favoured for the batsman who's striking at the southern end.
Yep.
To hit out onto the onside.
Well, you see these sprightly fieldsmen bouncing around at the age of 50, and then you have a talk to Neville Kratzman, the father of the 2 lads who played tennis. He's 81 and he's still playing.
Yeah, it's a great effort, isn't it, really?
Yeah, well, it's not bad to be out there and enjoying it so much.
It's muscled around the corner from Zani, looking to find the gap. But a light stepping on the boundary line, won't retrieve that one. It was Paul Baird who was trying to keep it away from the rope, but it manages to travel over. So at the end of 15 overs, Sandgropers have brought up their 100, 5 for 100. They still need 57 runs to win from 30 balls remaining. We now move into the 3rd and final power play. The RJR All-Stars earlier today in this game finished with the score of 7 for 156. Zani is 5, Warren is 25. you feel that they're one really good over from being anywhere near close to coming home strongly to win this one.
Very true. And as I look away, Pat, across this beautiful ground, no movement of the trees at all. It is just so still. And it looks like it's going to be a pleasant evening as we head towards, I keep saying it, but it's the AFL Grand Final tomorrow. Used to have the night before the best grand finals, and it went for about 12 hours.
The footy marathon.
Yeah.
I think Fox have got something of the like on
Have
the
they?
go tonight, yes.
Okay. Yeah, that was always good to watch, and then you'd fall asleep and wake up at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon when the game was on, if you weren't there. There's something about it. There's something about a grand final, and yet there's always been questions as to whether it should be a night game or it should start at 5:30 or what. I don't know. Look, it's been pretty safe for 2:30 for a long time.
I think by one of those COVID years where we're up at the Gabba, I think we had a bit of a later
true.
start in that particular
True.
year. Ball's pushed out on the onside. They'll look for two, the Sandgropers, but just the one on offer.
Throw not quite taken cleanly there by the wicketkeeper Darren Cox, but they weren't able to turn around and get back because they thought just the one was going to be the required. 5 for 104. Warren 26. Zani is on 8. And this ball driven very handsomely too off the front foot. Beats the cordon in close out towards the sweeper on the boundary at long off. Throw comes in quite gracefully. And they're okay for the single. So it's 5 for 105. Warren 27 off 29 and Zani is on 8. Top scorer in this particular innings is Lee, who made 45. His total could be threatened if Warren can stay there. That's the big question. If he can stay there, there might be some sort of a chance. But it's now 25. That's number of deliveries and 51 runs. So they're pretty much double what they need off the balls remaining. Movement to the left, the players still watching, hoping for the best. The ball again smacked down the ground and hit very well through the outfield, out towards the man sweeping on that boundary. And the ball bounced back on the return to complete the 16th over. Lavender's over now, 3 and for a 7, so 1 for 16 off 3. Last wicket falling with the score at 90, and it's now 5 for 107.
Quick check around the grounds. Things tightening up even more behind us. And we're Senior College number 2, Team Thunder 5 for 76. 17.1 overs, chasing 86. So you feel if they can keep those wickets in hand, they should be able to squeeze the Saxon Kings for a victory there. Australian Pavilion 8 for 106, so they've lost their way midway through the second power play and into the final one. 16.4 overs gone as they chase 168 for victory. And the spot-on strikers are 5 down now for 112 after 13 in pursuit of 212 for victory.
And this, of course, is exactly what's required because they have the Saxon Kings who won this morning. They look like they're going to get beaten. They made 86 and it's 5 for 76. So you'd reckon that they wouldn't be able to hang off. So they'd have 1 win and 1 loss. EV2 Cricket, who this morning lost. Let's have a look, got 120 chasing 131. They look like they're going to win, so that could be 1 win and 1 loss, which is what we want. We want the closeness of the scores. RJR, let's have a look. This morning, they had a win, and so it looks like they'll win in this game. And they'll go to 2 zips, so there could be 2 teams who are unbeaten after the first day's play. How good is that, Pat?
It's outstanding, Pete, as we saw a high sky ball going out there to Jason Simmons, who was stationed on the 45. We might get a chance to watch this one back in replay. Went very, very high off the leading edge. Simmons looked like he was in a pretty good base there as he then let it drop a little low, didn't he? He could have got the hands up and taken it early. But then it got away from him quickly as he was going to ground and unable to hang on to it. Ball's out to the leg side once again. As Hancock retrieves from his post there, just backward of square. 5 for 109, 17th over. Warren is 29, Zani is 10. And 48 to win from 20 balls.
Good to see Hancock coming on for his half hour. Thanks, Pat. I just needed that one. I'd been sitting there for a while and I thought, well, I might as well get rid of it now, seeing we're all pretty tired after the day at the cricket.
Oh,
and there's a run out.
Yeah, would you believe it, at the non-striker's end as it came back through there to Gary Lovett. And unfortunately, another wicket down for the Sandgropers. The score 6 for 109, which will be adjusted shortly on the NV play system. That's some good, strong work out on the ring. So we see Zani turning back, just didn't get out of the blocks as quick as he would have liked, and he's unable to make his ground at the end, so he's on his way for 10.
Well, that would be disappointing too, because any light at all or any burning on the candle, but that's been flickered completely now.
And a bit of a mess at the stumps there at the bowler's end, didn't he, Lovett?
Who threw it in, mate? Good question. So you might be able to see a number better on there than I do.
We'll just confirm a few things that have happened in the last 30 seconds. Working beautifully with Horse, our scorer, who was to our right. And we might be able to get another replay of what did happen. Zani, the man out, run out for 10. The score is 6 for 109, hoping that we might be able to get a look at who did what. But the throw was a good one. It bounced back to the keeper, who was able to flick the bails off, and that was the end of the penny section.
Ball hit back to the bowler, no run. Man who was Johnny on the spot for the run out was stationed a long way out on the fence there next to the hit me for 6 sign. I'm just hoping that he might turn around enough for me to see his number here.
Good luck.
Might be Matthew Pigg there, boys, who was our man out in the fence. They're not going to worry about it now. They've moved on. It is certainly is number 12 out there, Matthew Pigg, who threw back into the bowler's end. 6 for 110. There's the new man out. In the middle is Robert Nichols, who of course impressed early with his left arm seam up, bowling from that school end, bowled with really good zip that first session of play here in the second T20 game.
He did. He did. This over now will be the 18th. Just the 3 overs remaining. 47 required off 18 balls. That won't be achieved. Actually, the fieldsman out there with the ball now, I'll tell you what, he's got someone who looks like him from a distance. I think there's a bit of Darren Lehman, the bald nude nut. I just reckon there's a little bit of that as this ball is swung away on the onside, hit out towards the boundary. Well fielded out there too. It was an awkward one to bounce. Simmons cleaned up and we'll get the ball back, and we'll do so as the field spreads far and wide. 6 for 111. Warren 30 and Nichols 1. As this ball is hit high and hard down the ground and dropped on the line there where the goalposts are. From where we are, there's some applause there coming in because the runner or the fieldsman had to make a fair bit of ground. Got around and felt okay. We might get a replay, but then we've seen a few of them bobble around and then spill out. And this ball, a big shout for LBW, tried to hit the ball across his line. And the wicketkeeper's tapping his pad as if to say it was going down leg side, was it? And the umpire probably didn't say anything, but he might have just winked at him or said, yep, you guessed it, 6 for 113. 15 balls remaining as we head towards the end of this game. And that's an ungainly looking swat, and he's out LBW this time. 7 for 113. Now what's happening? What's happening?
Has the bowler sent him back to the crease? Was there potentially an inside edge there?
That's a good question. Now he's going up to shake hands with the wicketkeeper, and obviously words were passed on, and it might have been, thanks for being so honest. Let's have a look and see if we can pick it. There goes the big swing. Oh, it's hit him on the pad.
Well, it looked like there was a bit of under edge, I reckon.
Oh, I don't know about that.
So the next ball looks like it's going to go all the way over the rope out towards the Deakin Avenue side of the Mildura Senior College. So there's no justice in the game, you might say.
Let's have another look as we can see. But it did appear to strike him on the pad as he stretched well forward.
I reckon there's an inside edge that's taken the ball down onto the pad there. My eyes aren't great, but Todd from B Live is a bit hit and miss with that decision. But in the end of the day, the spirit of cricket shone through once again.
Well,
Peter Walsh.
we know who the umpires are, so you can go and talk to them. No, something did happen, and this ball is hit hard down the ground for four.
So a late flurry from Warren. He's got a second bite of the cherry here, late in the innings. So he takes his score now to 42 from 39, and it's 6 for 1-2-3 at the end of 18. 34 to win, 12 balls remaining and 4 wickets in hand.
Well, that's what we need to know now. We'd just like to be able to, as we see the wicket keeper go over and talk to the umpire. Now, the umpire's patting the wicket keeper on the back. So Darren Cox has been given a pat on the back by the umpire. And I did see, and we both saw this, and everybody saw it that's watching our coverage, Pat, and that was the wicketkeeper and the batsman patting each other or shaking each other. In other words, it did appear as if there was some differing of opinion as to what delivery that did do, and we'll wait and see. We'll find out tonight, won't we, or tomorrow?
Got no doubt we'll hear more.
Well, it's all about the spirit of cricket. I'm not saying I suggest that happens all the time, because it doesn't. It's about that simple. It doesn't. Most of the batsmen, and I'm not being critical, would be saying, well, it's a bit of luck for me, isn't it? If they get something involved for themselves, as this first ball of the new over is dragged away with just 11 balls remaining now, and it's down the ground for 1, 6 for 123, makes it 124 now with Warren 42 and Nichols 2.
Got a final result from in at the back at the Mildura Senior College number 2. Team Thunder 5 for 89. Have defeated Saxon Kings 86. Victory by 5 wickets there in a very low scoring encounter.
So Team Thunder have 2 wins now.
Yep. Ball taken down the ground by Warren. Just a single. Nice bit of work out in the deep there by Ben Homan from the RJR All-Stars.
And the Saxon Kings, who had a win this morning, had 1 win and 1 loss.
Ball taken down ground by Nichols. Times it reasonably well. We intercepted down there on the boundary, but they'll get back for a couple. So Nichols 4, score 6 for 127. And this the 19th over, 30 to win, 9 balls remaining. It's hit out backward a point. Again, they'll pick up another couple. So the throw comes in from the deep. 6 for 129 now.
Mate, my mathematics is absolutely on fire. I can hardly hold my pen with 4 different colours because it's hot. And I'm going through with the ladder that I'll be able to give you as soon as this game finishes. And it's just what's needed. There are a couple of teams that are doing pretty well and a couple not. I'll give you it all when we finish this game.
As Nichols swings it down the ground to the man at long on, they'll get through for 1. So 1 ball remaining of this, the 19th over. 6 for 130, 27 needed. Warren is 43. Would dearly love a maximum here just to narrow that equation down. Just love it as bowling a full of length delivery, which is hard to get away. In fact, it won't be scored from. So great finish there. The end of his 4th over. None for 32 for Gary Lovett. And the score is 6 for 130 after 19 overs here at the Mildura Senior College.
I'm just doing a little bit of adding up here and getting towards what I need to get towards. Just marking in a W there for EV2 cricket. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. This ladder's going to be. With an over to go, Sandgropers won't have a win. And the undefeated sides, I'll give it to you now. The undefeated sides will be Team Thunder with 2 wins. And we have RJ Stars with 2 wins. And let's have a look here. Australian Pavilion. They won't win. Or they didn't win. So Australian Pavilion is 1 win and 1 loss. We have 1 win and 1 loss to Saxon Kings, 1 win and 1 loss to EV2 Cricket, 1 win and 1 loss to Lightning Storm. Hang on a minute. Yeah, Lightning Storm. So the only 2 unscathed are Team Thunder, and the other one, of course, RJ Stars, the WWs in the column for those 2 teams.
So they'll turn at the start of day 2 tomorrow with plenty of confidence. Of course, we've got that earlier start with the AFL Grand Final on, so our first game will be live streaming from 9 a.m. here at the Mildura Senior College. As we can see, change of headwear for Ben Warren. He's gone back to the helmet for the final deliveries of this innings.
Still gettable, you know. I thought I'd just throw that in.
27 off the last over.
Well,
It'd be a big effort, wouldn't it?
Would be, yeah. I'd like a 6 straight away. And then another one. And then another one.
Probably need 3, I'd reckon, if there any chance.
No, that's not going to happen. Let's be serious. But there again, we've seen 2 centuries today, and who would have thought that Kawaja would get 111 and Niche would get 106? If you didn't think that, well, you probably joined a long queue who wouldn't, but they did. And also, what was the other highlight? There were plenty of them, but we saw Simon Milton got 3 stumpings, which was a good effort. Gab got 80. It was a good effort too. Here we go, last over.
Wide off the first delivery. So that'll bring the margin down now to 26 from 6. So it looks like Simmons is going to employ that strategy of pushing the ball way outside the off stump, making it hard for the batsman to really free his arms and either hit down the ground or across the line. This time it's a straighter length ball. It's hit down on the bounce to the man at long off. They'll think of a second. They won't get back for it though, so 25 from 5, Peter Walsh.
Good fielding out there by Baird. It's been some good fielding right throughout the day. A couple of drop catches early on, which would have been disappointing, but still, ball going in a hurry off the blade. In the 20 over game, you really give it a whack. 6 for 1, 3-2 on the back foot, and then slapping the ball, a tennis shot like a Kratzman shot, that one that went down the ground to where Baird will do the cleaning up and then rolls the return back in. And the score goes to 6 for 133 with 4 balls remaining. Target is 24, which won't be reached, says he with a fair amount of conviction. Let's just see whether or not Simmons can get a scalp wide of the off stump. No call from the umpire. Looked a bit wide, didn't it?
Just inside that blue line, I think. Walshy might have just snuck it through.
I've got no idea where the blue line is because I can't see one, but I judge your knowledge of where a blue line would be if you're looking for one here.
Just as you're watching the stream, it's over the right shoulder of the umpire, and that one again pitches inside the zone. And Nichols unable to make contact with the last couple of balls, which now blows it out to 24 from 2 deliveries remaining. 6 for 133.
And Warren's going to get a not out too, and that'll be a good effort, good result for him. 44 off 42. Only 2 overs to go. He's at the non-striker's end, and we're just about to wrap it up here. Second last ball, hit straight up in the air. Now, it could be a keeper's catch. I'm not too sure.
Safe.
Out of vision, it's safe. That went as high as the trees, the palm trees that are over to our right. That went virtually straight up in the air. So 1 ball remaining, then handshakes will be plentiful because this will be a result which will go the way of RJR Stars, and that is their 2nd win in this competition today. So a very good start. They had a win over Lightning Storm this morning, 3 for 165 to 5 for 162. Ball hit back down the ground, crashes into the stumps at the non-striker's end. They walk through for a single. The stumps are taken out by the bowler, and that wraps up the game here. The game of substance, yet another one, this one at the Mildura Senior College Oval. 6 for 135, playing 7 for 156. Just a very quick wrap from my good friend Pat Silcox here before we call it quits and head off in different directions with no clear direction in our lives. But we'll get somewhere and we'll be able to talk about what happened today and what's likely to talk about what's going to happen tomorrow, Pat.
Another busy day here at the Mildura Senior College is what's an expectation as we get a quick look at that final card for the Sandgropers. Lee was out, caught Lavender bowled Pig for 45. Wybird caught Homan bowled Simmons 2. Cullinane was bowled Simmons for 3. Newham stumped Cox, bowled Dacey for 9. Kelly's caught Dacey bowled Lavender for 2, and Zani was run out by Lovett for 10. And not out batsmen were Warren 45 from 43, which included 4 fours and a maximum. And Nichols was 9 from 9. So they finished at 6 for 135 at the end of their 20 overs. Quick look at the bowling, best of those. Simmons 2 for 11 from his 4. And wickets also for Pig, Dacey and Lavender. Pig 1 for 23 from 3. Dacey 1 for 28 from his 4. And Lavender 4 overs, no maiden, 1 for 29. So comfortable victory. A second at that, Peter Walsh, for the RJR All-Stars.
Absolutely. And repeating the ladder at the end of day 1, we can tell you that Team Thunder and the RJR Stars are both unscathed on 2 wins each of 2. 1 win to Australia Pavilion, to the Saxon Kings, to EV2 Cricket, and 2 losses to the Sandgropers and spot-on strikers. That's how we saw it today. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage. Our thanks to those who rendered assistance, but particularly to our good friends on the left of where we are, our technical wizards, and to the right of where we are, our statistical wizards. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage. We look forward to catching up with you tomorrow. And if you like what you see, tell your friends, and that's what we're all about. Communication is a key word. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. On behalf of co-commentator Pat Silcox, Peter Walsh signing off here from Mildura.